to Cody today. I'm sure everything will work out great, and we'll check in with him in a couple days, and then we'll be filling in off and on over the next week or so. You guys can interact with us on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream up and running, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss any of the shows here on 96.5 The Fan. Obviously, today, Veterans Day as well, so we want to thank everybody listening that serves our country or have served our country as well. Obviously, a very important day here in the United States. We appreciate all of you for your service and all of you for listening to the show today. I want to start with Xavier Worthy a little bit. We had Andy Reid's press conference exclusively here yesterday in the noon hour, and we talked a lot about what he said about Josh Simmons, and we're not going to get back into that today. We'll wait till tomorrow when he speaks again, and maybe there's a little more insight. But we thought it was interesting what he had to say about Xavier Worthy in particular. He was asked the question, in fairness, just, hey, you look at the self-scout, and Logan, how often do you get the ball to a certain playmaker? Do you feel like you need to get the ball more to somebody like Xavier Worthy? Here was his answer.
Well, we try to get them all involved the best we can. Some games you're just going to have that where, they're taking somebody away, and that's how it goes. That's happened. How the coverage goes. That's how the play call goes. So on. But we're not down on Xavier Worthy. We know he's a good player, and we like to get the ball in the good players' hands, the best way we can. So it just hasn't rolled that way.
So that was Andy when he was asked about Xavier Worthy's production. If you're just wondering, what have the last couple games looked like for him? So against Buffalo, now the whole team, of course, was a mess there, particularly the first half, but 3 catches on 7 targets for 23 yards. 1 carry for 7. Against Washington, again, remember, the Chiefs won 28-7. 5 catches for 53 on 7 targets and no carries. And we can keep going back. 4 for 35 the week before that. 1 carry for 13 yards. Some of this, of course, is that Rashee Rice is back in this offense, Logan. But I feel like as much as we've discussed their ability to have the big play back in this offense, a lot of that was with Tyquan Thornton. Yeah. The big play is not really connected down the field with Xavier Worthy. That's the area, if you're asking, like, hey, how do they get him more involved? Even though the rapport, I still think, has been better with Thornton down the field, that's probably the area.
I would say yes. I mean, Tyquan Thornton has a little bit of a physical benefit in those deep route patterns versus Xavier Worthy. He's a bigger, longer wide receiver. He can be a little bit more of a physical presence, and I think that's led to a little bit more success for him. I would say the thing I've been most shocked by is the lack of using Xavier Worthy in the running game or as an extension of the running game. We've seen them use Rashee Rice in those screen plays over and over and over again since he's come back. They haven't really been using Xavier Worthy in those settings. I see a lot of opportunity to use Worthy in the same way that they used Tyreek Hill at certain points in his career, right? As a guy on those jet touch passes or jet sweeps, a guy coming in motion late, reverses, things like that, where he can use his speed to get out in space one-on-one with somebody and try to beat him down the line. Those sorts of things haven't been happening as much, and maybe it is because you have an embarrassment of riches at wide receiver with Rashee back and Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown. Travis Kelce's playing better, but it does feel like they are not using him in ways that they have in the past. Even last year, they're not using him in those same ways.
I wonder, and we're going to have to see on Isaiah Pacheco for this week, but I wonder kind of what you're saying with the run game. To me, if you say that Isaiah Pacheco is out on Sunday, and there's a chance he doesn't play, we're going to find out more tomorrow, clarity on all that with Andy, and the practice reports will start coming out. But let's say Pacheco cannot go. Then I think there's even more reason why Xavier Worthy does need to be part of the run game, extension of that. However, what we have also seen, and I love this, I think long-term for Rashee Rice's career, this is going to be crucial. They're using him a little more in the Deebo Samuel role, right? They're having him as the Wildcat quarterback, however you want to describe it, and he's been really effective, has led to 2 touchdowns, or 1 touchdown, whatever it is, at this point in time for Rashee Rice. So I'm not saying Worthy should be lined up in the backfield, although they do have packages where he can be back there. It's kind of what you're saying, which is the end around, the jet sweeps, et cetera, that if you don't have Pacheco and you've got to manufacture some more ways to get involved, the running game involved, other than just give the ball to Brashard Smith more, I would like that as well.
Yeah, fair.
That's probably something we can get into more later on in the week and stuff. But Xavier Worthy, the receiving numbers, I don't know, like 7 targets. How many more targets do you think he should be getting? It's more about, the run game, and then, can they be more effective down the field? If they target him 7 times and one of them are down the field, can they connect on that? Because 7 targets for my number 2 wide receiver, which I think is what we would all agree he kind of is.
Yes.
That's about right. I mean, you're not getting 12 targets. You're not getting 10 targets. Rashee Rice is going to get the 10, 12 targets. Travis Kelce is going to get the 7 to 10 targets.
Yeah, I would say, and good, bad, or otherwise, while I would like to see Travis Kelce have a little bit lower usage at this point in the season for what he could possibly provide you in January and hopefully a February game in a Super Bowl, he is, because of the rapport he has with Mahomes, because of how proven he is, it's just going to be a factor that Travis Kelce's going to do his thing, especially when teams play zone, when they use those 2 deep looks to try to slow down guys like Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood and Worthy. The middle of the field's going to be open. Travis is going to do his thing. And Rashee Rice is a star in this league. I think that he is the type of receiver who is quietly proving himself to be one of the better options in this league. He's your number 1 target. He's going to be able to do what he can do out there on the field. He's too talented a player to keep down. It's about, finding, and I hate to say smarter ways to utilize Xavier Worthy, but maybe more effective ways, where those 7 targets he has against Buffalo, and you're only connecting on 3 of them, try to get that more towards 5 or 6 receptions on those 7 targets. And whether that is more small and incremental plays, those screen passes or bubbles, down the field or at the line of scrimmage, or maybe it's a 4-yard drag route across the middle of the field, smaller, more subtle ways to get him involved and give him chances to use his speed to make plays after the catch.
I wonder too, though, let's factor in the dislocated shoulder. How much is that, impacting not necessarily his usage, but just the effectiveness? Right. And down I don't want to use it as an excuse for why they haven't connected down the field, because this was an issue last year too. It was a rookie year for him, but we all know the kind of the field awareness was off. Some of this was also on Patrick Mahomes. Let's be honest. Down the field, his deep ball was a little off. But I don't blame Mahomes as much for that this year as I think we could last year. This year, I've seen him connect with Tyquan Thornton. And Tyquan Thornton, what you were saying about his stature, he can go up and get the contested pass. The unfortunate reality for Worthy, one, he's just a smaller receiver to begin with. And then now you're telling me I'm kind of held back by a dislocated shoulder, which, remember, that's going to be the case all year until he has surgery in the offseason. Fortunately, knock on wood, he's been able to continue to play while having that injury. But that's the issue, I think, down the field for this team right now, is that Worthy, while the speed and everything is there, I actually think if you're asking me for this offense on Sunday against the Broncos, how do they stretch the field? I think there needs to be, as crazy as this would sound when I've got a healthy Brown and a healthy Worthy and a healthy Rice, I think Tyquan Thornton does need to be slightly more involved. It can't be as simple as like he's on the field, so we're going deep. Teams aren't stupid. But at the same time, he's the only receiver that I have seen on a consistent basis at all this year that they can connect deep with. I haven't seen that with Xavier Worthy, and that's probably why a lot of this production talk about Worthy the last couple weeks, again, 23 yards, 53 yards, 35 yards, 20 yards receiving in the last 4 games for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's been kind of interesting to see that it really has only been Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy that they have been utilizing in that deep passing game with relative consistency. We've seen Mahomes connect with Hollywood Brown a couple of times on deep passes, but those were kind of broken down plays that Mahomes extended with his feet, that it was just sort of backyard football a little bit that he and Hollywood Brown were able to connect. But design deep routes down the field, I would be interested in seeing if you can, kind of split some of that, maybe use Rashee Rice on some of those deep passes down the field, because he and Mahomes have had success with that in the past as well, and try to see if you can get Xavier Worthy some touches deep down the field by having Rashee take away some attention with those deep balls, deep routes up and down the field, maybe using and I hate to, use decoy as the term, but it feels like Worthy has been used as a bit of a decoy on those deep routes to make room for Rice or Kelsey, maybe some of that to try to get some opportunities for Xavier Worthy in the middle of the field as well.
We'll talk more about this with Nate Taylor. Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN, going to join us at 1 o'clock. He does each and every Tuesday here on Cody and Gold. From the text line, 913-586-7965, a few people mentioning, hey, is this the week, though, for them to attack down the field? It will be more challenging. I mean, one texter mentions, hey, how are you going to keep your protection up against that pass rush? That will be a huge part of this game, no doubt. How does Jawan Taylor hold up? How's the entire offensive line? And then the story that we all have been keeping an eye on, is it going to be Jalen Moore on Sunday or is it going to be Josh Simmons? And as I said yesterday, I would lean right this second that it's Jalen Moore, but that is also with no insight right now on, is Josh Simmons a full participant at practice? What kind of shape is he in? Andy Reid really didn't want to answer that yesterday. So with that said, right this second, yeah, I would say it's like a 55% chance it's Jalen Moore as a starting left tackle. Can he hold up against Nick Bonita? Remember, some of the best offensive lines in football have struggled against this defensive front for Denver. So there's no doubt, if we're asking, and we will on Friday, like what's the keys to the game and all that, yeah, protecting Patrick Mahomes is going to be at the very top of the list. As much as you want to say get after Bo Nix, I'm not really all that concerned with the Broncos offense. It is more, is the Broncos defense going to wreck the day for Patrick Mahomes to where he has no chance? He's running for his life. He's doing the backyard stuff in a negative way.
Yeah.
To where and when he plays in that way, as Cody has said it, and we've talked about on the show, that when he plays that way, usually as a team, it's a bad day at the office. So we'll talk more about that here on 96.5 The Fan. But I do want to pivot a little bit to where things stand in the NFL. Week 11 now. Week 10's in the rearview mirror. It was a terrible game last night. We'll get to the tush-push bowl, as I called it yesterday. Just pathetic. If you were looking for fancy football points, if you bet any overs last night, that was a tough go. That was a tough go for you. Just an ugly football game. And we'll get into some of the officiating stuff again. But where are we at with contenders to win the Super Bowl? Not to win their division, to win the Super Bowl. Because I started this thought yesterday briefly on the show because I was thinking about the Baltimore Ravens and what they've done now. 3 wins in a row. They are right there in a bad AFC North with the Steelers. And are they back in the Super Bowl conversation? And then I was like, okay, well, who is in my Super Bowl conversation at this point? And we were doing an exercise before the show. Like, we were marking down our contenders. We were initially not going to share with each other. I was like, let me try to think it out. And all of a sudden, guys, I was adding like 8 or 9 teams. Like, I can't have 8 or 9. I can't have 8 or 9 Super Bowl contenders. It's ridiculous. Like, we can't play that game. I feel like if someone says, who do you think are Super Bowl contenders, who can win the Super Bowl? Do I actually think there's 8 or 9 teams that can win it this year? Is it that wide open? And so then I narrowed it down to 6. I actually think this is a year at this point, heading into week 11, as we're in the second weekend of November, that you can have a much longer list, at least I would, to win a Super Bowl than we've had in a couple years. And a lot of that is we have a Bills team that is a wild card team right now. We have a Chiefs team that's not currently in the playoff field and is 5-4. And then on the NFC side, it just looks so wide open. I mean, you can make a case for 4 teams in its own right. So, and the text line can chime in here. Who do you think can actually win a Super Bowl right now? So here were a couple of the teams I came up with. I'll admit, I had to whittle this down because it was like 9 initially. So I still think the Chiefs absolutely are on the list of teams that can win a Super Bowl, and that is understanding they are out of the playoff picture right now. The Rams. Matthew Stafford's a co-favorite for MVP. Yeah. As long as he's healthy, Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in football. They're in a very tough division. The Seahawks actually lead that division, so they right now would have to go on the road, which makes it challenging. But I just think the Rams, if you just look at how they perform with their current operation, with Puka, et cetera, they're one of the best teams in football. Clearly can go. Matthew Stafford's won a ring already. I like that in my back pocket. Then I had the Eagles. Some of this is like, while they're so boring to watch, they are very boring to watch. That defense, now add Jalen Phillips, who was great last night, who they just acquired. And we know that the advantage right now with the rules and everything the tush-push gives you on any short yardage situation, the Eagles at some point, I have to look that I know I'm guaranteed a division title already. That division's over. So I know they're getting a home game, and right now they'd be the 2 seed. So the Eagles are on my list. The Packers, I know they have not looked all that impressive. I still believe that the Packers are a Super Bowl contender. Then I had the Bucs. They need to get Bucky Irving back. And then the Buffalo Bills are still on my list. So those are the teams that I have. Seattle is the one that I had on there. I just don't think I can give you 8 teams. I feel like that's cheating. Otherwise, I want to put Seattle on there.
Yeah, I've got 5 on mine, and all 5 of mine, I believe, outside of 1. 4 of the 5 are on your list as well. I've got the Chiefs on there. It's a prove it thing for me. Until somebody can show me that the Chiefs aren't going to contend for a Super Bowl, right? I'm not going to bet against 15 when it comes playoff time. The earliest he's ever been kicked out is overtime of an AFC championship game. This defense is still really, really good despite the lack of a pass rush with any consistency and, a very hit or miss running game. It's still Patrick Mahomes. He's got more weapons than he's had maybe in his entire career. I can't go against what they have. The Lions, their offense is so good. Jared Goff, the weapons around him, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are coming off of, I would say, probably their best 1-2 punch game of the year, over 215 combined yards between the two of them on the ground. And their defense is getting healthier. Aiden Hutchinson has kind of hit the ground running after the injury last year. If their secondary can clean it up and get healthy, I think they'll be just fine. I still believe in the Buffalo Bills. I believe that they're incredibly beatable, but Josh Allen's still Josh Allen. James Cook is having the best year of his career. This defense is going to be a problem if you're Buffalo. Their defensive line has pieces, but I'm still waiting on them to put it all together. I have the Seattle Seahawks on my list. I like their 1-2 punch in the backfield with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I think their defense is incredibly undervalued across the National Football League. I love what Sam Darnold is doing. And Jackson Smith-Njigba has been the best receiver in football this year. I'm not saying he is. Jamar Chase and Jay Jettis still exist, but he's been the best receiver in the NFL this season so far. I like the Seahawks. I still have to got to give the respect to the Philadelphia Eagles. Are they fun to watch? No. Kind of reminds me of some of those Tom Brady Patriots years where they just won ugly all the time, but all they did was win. That kind of feels like the Eagles a little bit. And then, I've got the Los Angeles Rams on my list. You talked about the offense. They've got the most underrated defense in the league. Yeah. They have an elite defense where they have star players at all 3 levels, especially along that defensive line. I really, really like this Rams team.
You have 8?
No, I have 6.
Okay, you have
Chiefs,
6.
Lions, Bills, Seahawks, Eagles, Rams.
All right, Drew. Drew has 8. That's okay. Drew has 8.
This is the thing, though. My argument is that I think there's legitimately it's that wide open in the NFC. You can make a case right now for 5 NFC teams to win the whole thing, and I don't think you can be called crazy. So I don't mind if your list is.
I had 8 or 9
longer.
originally, so I'm not even saying it's crazy. I just feel like I can't put. I feel like I can't say 9 teams because then it's like, well, no kidding.
Oh, just a quarter.
But
of the
I'm
league?
with Drew. Initially, I had exactly the amount of teams that you had.
Because I think it sounds weird to say there's 8 or 9 teams. Of course, eventually you're gonna get the Super Bowl contender, but it feels like legitimately you can make a case for all 8 of them, particularly the 5 across the NFC. Very similar.
Who do you have different than? Because we all have, obviously. If you have 8, you have a lot of the 5 we do. So who?
Well, I do not have the Buffalo Bills in there.
Okay.
I don't trust the defense, and also Josh Allen. It feels different the last 2 years with Josh Allen, just from a performance standpoint. If James Cook is not, pun intended, cooking, then it seems difficult for this offense to do anything. And I think some of that is the wide receivers. Yeah. Some of it is just a mix of everything. But I'm not a believer in the Buffalo Bills at all in terms of winning a Super Bowl or even potentially getting to one. I have the Colts in there just because I think from a constructive standpoint, if Daniel Jones can find a way to not get in the way and be the problem, I think they have a legit shot at making a run at an AFC title game. And if you're in an AFC title game, I think you should be considered as a Super Bowl contender, at least because you're one game away from getting there. I think everything else is similar. I've got the Bucs in there just like you do, Gold. I've got the Packers as well in this bunch. I've got the Rams in there as well. I got the Eagles. I have the Ravens. I don't think you guys have the Ravens in there.
I don't. I still can't. I can't put them in the Super Bowl conversation.
That defense
I think defense is very problematic for them. I know they've won 3 in a row, and that was how this whole conversation started. Is like, should they be back in the conversation?
I was hesitant. There were other. I think that there's.
I would put so I don't have people on the text line. We'll get to your text in a second. Are saying like crazy for not having the Patriots, and I'll explain it in a second. I would have the Patriots on my list before I would have the Ravens. I would even have the Colts on my list before I would have the Ravens.
Someone says you're crazy. If the defense or quarterback is questionable, then they're not on the list. Well, then the Bills should not be on the list. Then the
Well,
Ravens
their quarterback's not questionable.
I know, or if the defense or QB. Defense is questionable in Buffalo. The Bills.
Josh Allen is the only reason why they're on my list.
I understand,
That's
but based on that criteria, I'm curious to see what this person who is on your list then, because the Patriots are not on your list, the Colts are not on the list, the Bills are not on the list, the Ravens are not on your list.
Sometimes
how about
the
this?
quarterback
If I asked you to narrow it down, if I did force you,
if you made me
to narrow
it
it down to 4. Who are your guys' 4 then? If I made you go to 4,
Chiefs, Bills, Lions, Rams.
Chiefs, Bills, Lions, Rams. I would
Those
go
are my 4.
Chiefs, Rams, Eagles, Bills. Because I'm obviously not adding teams from my list. I'm out of my current list, narrowing it down to 4.
Out of my list, I would say Chiefs, Colts. See, I'm almost tempted to just say Chiefs in the AFC.
Yeah, fair.
You know what? Go ahead. Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams, Eagles. Those would be my 4. And I think the Chiefs are the only AFC team. If we're talking, I have to narrow it down.
Yeah, someone's saying a lot of Bucks talk in New England. They just beat them. Fair point. My pushback would be the Patriots have to go through Patrick. In my opinion, the Chiefs will still be there. Maybe you think they won't. I think that the challenge, and maybe this is not how we all look at the conversation differently. Super Bowl contender, I guess, for me, is like, it's, do I believe
they can win it or get there?
Super Bowl contender means you're getting a Super Bowl. You think they can win a Super Bowl? So I mean, is a contender? If you think they can make an AFC title game, does that mean they're a Super Bowl contender? I guess is the question.
I think yes.
I think the Patriots can get to that. My issue is the Bucks do not have to go through Patrick Mahomes and eventually I think also Josh Allen. Whereas like the Patriots are going to have to go through who you have already, possibly the Colts. To me, I think they'll have to still go through Mahomes. They'll have to still go through Josh Allen along the way. Yeah. On the NFC side, it's so wide open. While we can acknowledge Matthew Stafford is an MVP favorite or co-favorite right now, the path to get there, I don't think is as daunting. Like as much as on the Kansas City perspective, we say, man, are you really concerned about the Colts, the Patriots, and the Steelers? No, but at the same time, I still know that even as a wild card, that I'm probably going to have to deal with Mahomes and Allen. But I guess that's in fairness to the texter, that's probably a different conversation.
It sounds like it's a quarterback thing more than it is a team.
It is,
thing.
And Drake May's playing like a MVP candidate. He's the co-favorite. So in fairness, I think the Patriots defense scares me a little bit. Now, if you look across the whole year, you'll pinpoint the Patriots, I think, are like 6th in points per game given up. So across the entire year, you're saying, what are we talking about? They're a top 10 defense in football. I have some questions still there about like the fact that Drake May in his second year as a starter can go and take them to a Super Bowl. That's part of it. If you look at these other teams that at least are on my list, Chiefs, Mahomes has won a ring. Matthew Stafford won a ring. Jalen Hurts won a ring. Jordan Love hasn't, but he's also not a second-year quarterback. Baker Mayfield, not a second-year quarterback. Josh Allen hasn't won a ring, but he's an MVP. I guess I am banking a lot on experience and history on my list than that the young pup is going to come through and get to a Super Bowl. That's all.
The last quarterback to do second year, get to a Super Bowl, is Joe Burrow. So
right.
I think that's. I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened.
Yeah, Logan, see this. See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
No.
He sneaks it in. He sneaks in a little Joe Burrow love.
This is look. It might be intentional, but it's also factual. The last guy. It's not like we're talking. It was Aaron Rodgers or something like that. The last person to do it was in 2021. So it's not like it hasn't happened. It hasn't not happened recently, but also you're talking about a quarterback who has been in that top 5 conversation the entirety of his career, essentially. Where is Drake May in that conversation? You could argue. He's entering the chat, if you will, based on how the season he's having.
Yeah, this is what's fun about the conversation. We all differ, right? Like everybody's list is different. Like the Patriots are having a hell of a season, and their schedule, their most impressive win is the one they just had. I'll give you that. It was against maybe other than the Bills, the best team on their schedule. And honestly, the Bucs, you might just flat out say, are better than the Buffalo Bills from what we've seen as well. And so that was a big deal for me to see the Patriots beat the Bucs because I think their schedule otherwise is so soft. Yeah. The Patriots are on a great path to maybe be the number 1 seed, depending on how you feel about the Colts. You know, I'm a Colts hater. That's fine. Call me that. Like I'm just not sold. Jonathan Taylor's incredible, but we see when Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones, he makes all these mistakes. How many turnovers in the last 2 weeks has he
7.
had? Yeah, 6 were in one, 5 were in one game or whatever it was. But 7 turnovers in 2 weeks. That's the Daniel Jones I know and love. That's the Daniel Jones that is going to come through in January and cost the Colts a playoff game. That's what I'm banking on. That's all.
Yeah, something about teams that I trust in a playoff setting. Yes, I understand the Patriots have a talented roster, but it is a very young roster. I mean, with guys like Travion Henderson and Drake May and Will Campbell, a lot of that defense is younger guys who have not been in playoff settings. And I know Vrabel's been there, and he's going to do his best to get these guys ready to go. But can you honestly look at me with a straight face and tell me that Drake May is capable of beating Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes head-to-head in a divisional round game to get to an AFC championship?
You're saying that beating him in October is different than beating him in January. I agree.
Absolutely it is. I mean, we see it every year. Josh Allen owns Patrick Mahomes in the month of October and November, but he can't hold a candle to him in the month of January. That's just the way it is sometimes, right? Manning was great against Brady in October and November, but he couldn't do it in January. That's just the way it goes sometimes. This guy's never been in a playoff game. That's why I don't buy on him yet. I don't buy on Jordan Love just yet. I roll with teams that have proven quarterbacks who I think are capable of winning playoff games.
We'll get back into this. I know a lot of texts are coming in. We'll talk more about the Patriots in particular. I think that's the example a lot of people are bringing up is, hey, Patrick Mahomes was in an AFC title game in his second year. Of course, he lost to Tom Brady. So maybe you think that Mahomes will be on the road in New England this year, and it'll be Patrick Mahomes beating the young pup in Drake May. Who knows? They'll take that, by the way. That means the Chiefs are headed to a Super Bowl if that's the case. Up next, 100%. Though, let's talk to Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL insider, about this very conversation. Also, is this a must-win game for Kansas City? His bottom 5 in the NFL? That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Man, if your stream isn't as strong as it used to be, or you're taking more breaks to the bathroom than the last 2 minutes of a televised football game,
there's another timeout. We'll be back after this.
It's time to get checked. An enlarged prostate, or BPH, could be the cause. And Kansas City Urology Care is here to help. Fast answers, trusted care. Don't wait. Come see Kansas City's largest, most experienced, and most advanced urology team. Visit kcuc.com today. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
Hey, Zach, are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbor's attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching. Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix and match all your favorite libations and get a 50-cent fuel saver with every $50 purchase. Stack up the savings and your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday at your Kansas City, Missouri Hy-Vee. Product or promotion differs by location. Offers valid where legal, available while supplies last.
The Chiefs have been scoring a ton of points lately, and that means I'm saving a ton of money at Hy-Vee. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs because I score big fuel savings when I shop Hy-Vee the day after any Chiefs game. Win or lose, I'll earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 35 points, I save 35 cents a gallon when I spend $35 on groceries. So the more we score, the more I save, only for my friends at Hy-Vee. Ever wonder what your home is really worth? Find out in seconds with a true market expert. Just Google Sharp Homes Team, and on their website, click on the button that says, "How much is your home really worth?" The Sharp Homes team can give you options, including their instant offer program. Skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold. And if you're buying or selling, reach out to the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp with the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. So don't wait. Google Sharp Homes Team today.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this. He's a husband, a dog dad, a first baseman, and a fantasy football commissioner.
Being a commissioner for the league is tough, and I'm really excited. I'm wearing a suit today.
He also likes to fill the bathtub with hard work and Jets tears.
I can't take any more disappointment. That's what he used to say when we watched the Jet games together.
But his most important job is being a Vin FL insider.
I haven't enjoyed a football season since 1969.
On 96.5 The Fan, here's Vinnie Pasquantino.
That's right. It's that time of the week where we welcome in Vinnie Pasquantino here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold with you, Drew Nixon, Logan Weber filling in for Cody. Vinnie, Cody is out for some surgery. He'll be back in a week or so. And then that got us talking about surgeries. And my co-host today, Logan, said he had his wisdom teeth removed, and they did not knock him out, which I thought was crazy. Did you ever have the wisdom teeth pulled?
No, I haven't had them taken out. I don't know why, but I haven't.
Yeah.
Every time I go to the dentist, we talk about it, and it's like, probably not a good time.
Yeah, I was going to say, the off-season's all you got.
Yeah, and it's you don't really want to plan things in the off-season because you just don't. You like your free time. So, no, I've never had them out, but I like watching the videos of people who did get knocked out and are going nuts after their surgery.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't believe Logan was they just did lidocaine and they didn't actually do the laughing gas or whatever it was.
So thankfully no video like that exists for me.
I wish we had that. I definitely wish we had that. I have to ask, we appreciate you calling in. Where are you? You sound like we caught you in the middle of a tunnel and you're on a boat.
Oh, I'm in my truck.
You're good.
Is this better?
It is, actually. Yeah.
My truck doesn't have very good audio, but my phone does, so I switched it over to speaker.
All right, no, you're good. I thought something was up there, so we're all good. All right, now the Jets, you got to be feeling good, though. The Jets did get a win over the Browns this weekend, and I know last Friday you were talking to Cody and saying, like, yes, everybody wants to talk draft stuff, but you're win all the time there with the Jets.
Yeah, mostly because I invest 3 hours of every Sunday watching them. So I don't want them to lose. That would be miserable for me to try to watch a team lose. I understand why people say it, but I'm not a fan of it. I like watching teams win. So anytime you can get a victory, I'm pretty happy about it. And now everybody needs to watch them on Thursday night against the New England Patriots. So when you add up both of their winning streaks, they haven't lost in 9 games. So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs fans would love for your Jets to pull off an upset on the Patriots a little bit there.
Yeah, so tune in on Thursday night. Maybe it'll happen. It probably won't, but maybe it will.
All right, Vinny, earlier in the show, we were trying to list like Super Bowl contenders, right? And not necessarily just teams who you believe are capable of like getting to an AFC or an NFC championship game, but teams that you believe are legitimate contenders for hoisting a Lombardi trophy at some point at the end of the year. We each had, very similar lists, 4 or 5. Drew had 8 teams on his list. Can you give us like 4 or 5 teams that you believe are seriously capable of winning a Super Bowl?
I think you start in the NFC and you go with the Seahawks and the Rams and the Eagles. Those would be the 3 for me. And if I'm forgetting anybody in that league, I don't really care. Those would be my 3 from there. And then I'd say out of the AFC, whoever gets the 1 seed, I would consider to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. just because one less game. And then the Chiefs and the Bills are who I would say, because they've done it. Not that the Bills have won the Super Bowl before, but they have gotten to the AFC Championship.
Right.
Those would be my teams. The Colts scare me. However, if the Colts do get the 1 seed, like I said, one less game, I guess the Patriots are pretty good, but I haven't seen them up close and personal yet, so I'll get back to you after Thursday night when I watch my film on them. But apparently Drake May's been going off, huh? He's been really good.
He's a co-favorite to be the MVP in his second year as a starting quarterback. And the Colts thing is, Jonathan Taylor has been unbelievable. There's a lot of people that think he should win MVP, even though we know that's a quarterback award for the last decade or so in the NFL. My issue is what we saw the last 2 weeks for Daniel Jones. Like 7 turnovers combined, 6 of them in 1 week. And I'm still always worried. I guess not worried, but I believe the Colts will have a Daniel Jones game. And to your point, that's why I think the number 1 seed is far more important for the Colts to get it than even the Patriots.
Well, I have a ridiculous thing to say. And like I've said for years on this show, with how ignorant I am with football, you cannot take what I say too seriously. But everything I hear and see from coaches and players says you have to be able to run the ball and stop the run in the playoffs because it's cold weather, harder to throw. That doesn't really matter for Indianapolis because they play inside. So I don't know how much of an advantage it is for them to be able to run the ball as well as they do because it won't be cold if they have home games. So teams will be able to go in there and throw the ball. I don't know if that made any sense or not. If there's any football people listening to this, I'm sorry for disgracing the game that we all love. But that's how I feel.
No, I get what you're saying. My thing has been that I think they need the bye. One, it's obviously, as you said, one less game, but the weather thing, meaning like while they can run the ball, I don't know if the Colts operation, though, we haven't really seen it have to travel in cold weather yet. Like I know people will assume that, well, Jonathan Taylor can run in the cold and Daniel Jones can play in the cold. He played in New York. My thing with them is I want to know what do they look like? Is their offense as good when they have to go play in a cold weather city? Whereas if they're the number 1 seed, it's less games and what you just said, they don't have to play on the road. So I viewed it as more of an advantage. I get what you're saying, which is if you're a Chiefs offense or any other, let's say there's not really a warm weather city other than the Chargers maybe that are going to make the playoffs, it feels like, in the AFC. But if one of those teams had to go to Indy, it's not as problematic as what you're saying.
Yeah, and also I'm about to get kicked out of Kansas City for saying what I'm about to say.
Oh boy, be careful.
From a casual football fan perspective, not as a Kansas City fan, even though certain former NFL players think that baseball is the only sports that has dynasties, from a casual fan perspective, it would be cool to see another team get to play for a championship. Again, I'd rather the Chiefs win if the Jets can't. But from a national perspective, it could be cool if the Colts randomly get to the Super Bowl. How mad did I just make you right there? Did you hang up on me?
I personally didn't think it was cool.
We should. The text line's not going to like that, Vinny. We're talking to our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. Well, then how about, can we agree then the Eagles can stop winning? Because I don't need to see them start a dynasty.
If you think I want the Eagles to win, you're nuts.
Last night, by the way, did you watch that at all? That mess of a football game, the tush-push bowl?
I have YouTube TV, so I couldn't watch. So shout out to YouTube TV and Disney and ESPN for not being able to allow some consumers to watch. And I will not be getting the ESPN app.
Why don't you get the so it is ridiculous. I'm with you. And the fact that you have to apply for a $20 credit instead of them just automatically giving you a $20 credit is absolutely insane. But why don't you just go with the indoor antenna? Like they're like $25 and you plug it right in the old coaxial input or whatever it's called.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't even know what that means.
Vinny, you just go. It's go on Amazon, HD indoor antenna, and you plug it in the back of your TV, and you can get any of the local channels with no delay for free.
Really?
Yeah. That's how
like
I watch
old school cable.
Exactly, and so I like it mainly because there's no delay for Sunday Night Football. Anyway, well, long before this ESPN YouTube dispute, I watch Sunday Night Football that way. That way, there's no delay.
Huh. Now, that sounds like a fun idea. I prefer the no delay. I was a DirecTV customer for a long time simply because I didn't want the delay. Yeah, okay. I'll look into it.
You should. I think you'll enjoy that part of it. All right. You mentioned dynasties and all that. As a Jets fan, what do you make of the Patriots, though? Because they go from Brady to Mac Jones for a few years, but it looks like they got their franchise quarterback already. Meanwhile, we know what's going on in New York.
I hate it. I'm very hopeful that this new regime of general manager and head coach are able to find some stability within the organization. And, it's not the most fun that I got to watch Brady my entire childhood, and now I'm watching Drake May. And what's even worse is I kind of know him, so that sucks because I like him.
You know Drake May? Can you explain that? How do you know? What's the connection?
Indirectly. I played with his brother in a collegiate summer ball, so I've met him. I don't know him. That's
Okay.
Sorry, I was too dramatic there, but I've met him. But he was nice. So, and I have a soft spot for nice people.
There you go.
Interesting. Well, Vinny, we're giving you a hard time over the Drake May thing being a Jets fan. It seems like the Jets are more likely than not going to have a pretty high draft pick coming up in 2026. And I don't know how much you watch, college football or anything like that. It's a little too early to ask this question maybe in the month of November, but is there a quarterback you've seen at the college level that you would like to see maybe be the new potential franchise QB for your Jets?
Well, according to my Madden franchise, we're going to draft Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. How much more could you want? That's all I need to see.
He is going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken. There's no doubt. Him or Ty Simpson, I think, the kid out of Alabama. Now, the Chiefs, as you know, and we in the past, you have spoken about your hate for the Broncos, and it is Broncos week in Kansas City. This is a must-win game. If the Chiefs have any chance to win the division, they have to win on Sunday, Vinny.
That's adorable that you consider this game a must-win. Must be nice to be considering division games just in terms to win the division, must-win games. They're going to win the game.
Okay. They're going to win.
That's it. They're going to win the game. It's as simple as that. So they're going to win. The Broncos will be 8-3. The Chiefs will be what? 6-4?
Yep.
And then they make their move towards the division. That's me calling my shot right there because
I like it.
As we all know, I'm a Chiefs lover.
Right.
I feel like I've made that clear throughout the years. But more importantly, I'm a Broncos hater. We hate them.
We do, as we're talking to our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. 2 final questions. One is non-football related. One is baseball. Let me get to your bottom 5, though, in the NFL. We do this every couple weeks as well. You gave us your Super Bowl contenders. Give me your bottom 5. The Jets get a win. Where are they at now?
The Browns are number 1 on that list because they lost to the Jets. That was like I say, I'm very ignorant when it comes to football, but I would think at some point you're probably going to give Shedeur a shot there.
Okay.
The Jets have they traded away their 2 best defensive players. Now, I will say they won the game mostly because they returned a punt and a kick back-to-back. But still, they're in there. The Saints are still in there. The Jets are still in there. The Broncos are, of course, in there. And, who else is horrible? I'm going to put the Giants in there since they just fired their coach.
Yeah, they're a mess.
The Titans, of course.
Yeah, it's Cam Ward. It's been rough, to say the least, in year 1 for one Cam Ward. All right, that's the bottom 5 from Vinny. Last one for you. Just this is more out of curiosity. I think people wondering here in Kansas City when they hear all this stuff that's out there with baseball and these gambling scandals and all that, how often do players have that, I guess, discussed, from the league or from the PA when you see now this Class A stuff and gambling scandals? It's happened in the NBA as well. And is this something there's a point of emphasis every year? Do you know, is it happening more that you guys are being told, hey, remember certain things? I mean, this one seems pretty obvious, but the whole betting aspect of that.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it every year. MLB security comes in and they make it very clear what you can and can't do. And it's pretty simple. You cannot bet on baseball or softball, regardless of if you're playing, not playing, whatever it is. Baseball and softball, you cannot touch. You can bet on anything else. So it's unfortunate, that's for sure. It hurts more for Cleveland fans because they lost, one of their back end guys, really good pitcher, obviously, and then another guy who was pretty solid too. So I've got no sympathy for it. It's pretty simple. you can't bet on that stuff. I don't know. It's just it's hard to comprehend why they did it. Maybe something was going on. Who knows? But yeah, it's unfortunate for them, for the game, for everybody. Just don't do it. Pretty simple.
I would assume as a player, there's no way you face Class A. I'm sure numerous times in your career now at this point. I mean, it's one of those things where you as a player, as an opposing batter, you probably would have no clue that something like that was happening.
No, not even. No, you'd have no idea. Yeah, there's just no way to even. I don't know. I always assume the best, so I would assume that nobody's ever doing that. But it just it sucks. It taints the game for a little bit, and that's unfortunate. But hopefully we can. Hopefully everybody can get through this thing and get back to playing regular baseball. It's not that it wasn't, but it just sucks.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's we've talked about just as sports fan, whether we're talking about NBA or NFL, it's like now anytime anything happens, you're going to have some people, not all fans, you're going to have some people wondering, and that's the unfortunate thing because 99% of what is happening in these leagues that we love and sports we love is all on the up and up. But you have, of course, some bad actors. Here's another example of it. And it unfortunately opens, Pandora's box for some sports fans. I think that is unfortunate, and I can't imagine on the players' end.
That's the issue with betting on a single pitch or a single play is a pitcher can lose a ball at any given time, throwing off the backstop, whatever it is, or a guy could make an error, or a guy can swing and miss, or a guy could take a pitch down the middle. It doesn't mean that they're like honestly, that's one of the most common messages we get from fans nowadays is that we were betting on the game. Like whenever anything goes wrong, it's like, oh, you sold to Vegas, blah, 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 something like that. It's like, nope, I just grounded into a double play. I didn't want to do that.
Do you think
I struck out a few times tonight? It had nothing to do with anything other than it was a tough night.
I hope you all be asking this. Like, do you think sports? Like, do you think fans should be able to bet though on sports? Because what you're saying that it sounds like you get. I don't know if you get messages. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you sound, people interact with you and are acting. Maybe they're upset. I don't know if you ever had that happen because of they lost a bet or something.
Yeah, I mean, like it's clearly something that makes a lot of money. So it's probably until something terrible happens, it's probably not going to go away. So I think people can do whatever they want. I think just people need to realize you need to bet responsibly, and you shouldn't be betting enough that you get so angry that you take it out on the players that are out there playing. Like I think the most pure form of sport is if you're at home or at a sports bar or something and nobody is betting and you're just simply rooting on the teams to win or lose. That's probably the most enjoyable way for me, at least, to watch sports, not sweating out like a over under in a football game and not even paying attention to the game, just paying attention to the bets that I have.
No, I hear you, Vinny. Appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll check in next Tuesday.
Yep. Appreciate it, guys.
There you go. Vinnie Pasquantino, our VNFL insider. Just wanted to get his perspective, obviously, on one of the bigger stories in sports yesterday or Sunday into yesterday with Emmanuel Clase and all that. And what he was mentioning a minute or two ago, it's what we said yesterday, the prop bet aspect of it. And we'll get to an update on that. Major League Baseball actually just yesterday, along with some of the sports books, announced that they're going to implement a $200 limit on certain prop bets. And really, we're talking about the micro bets. And what Vinny was talking about was like the speed of the pitch or that it's going to be a ball, which is the circumstance there with Emmanuel Clase and everything. But appreciate Vinny for joining us here on the show. Coming up in about 12 minutes, we will talk about one of his teammates, Noah Cameron, who finished 4th in the American League Rookie of the Year. I've got something that I don't know if you guys are going to agree with, but I think it's very evident for the rest of the offseason, and Noah Cameron is involved in that. So I'll get to that in just a bit. But, Drew, it is that time of the week where we get to a little college football from your point of view.
Yes, it is. And there's a couple things I want to focus on, one of which is the Missouri Tigers. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but it was more of KU. Let's talk about Missouri. And they're in an interesting spot. Obviously not going to make the college football playoff right now, but they're on pace, at least if they can finish out the season on a high note, to potentially have a third double-digit win season in a row, which obviously would be pretty outstanding. Haven't done it since they joined the SEC. Of course, they made it to a couple SEC title games when they first got in. But my thing is, maybe Missouri fans shouldn't be worried as much about how they finish the season, but whether or not they still have the same head coach here in about a month and a half. I think it's going to be a very interesting month and a half, depending on how this thing goes, where even if they lose another game or two, it feels like now might be the time with all of the jobs that are open, where if Coach Drinkwitz gets that offer from Florida, if he gets that offer from LSU, then he's going to bounce, and all of a sudden, Missouri's in a spot where, not that they have to scramble necessarily, but all of a sudden, they might have to not only deal with transfer portal stuff and deal with trying to maintain players, but also trying to get a coach in who can keep players that are currently on the roster and try to present a winning program going forward. I think it'll be an interesting month and a half for them. I think you're
going to be sweating it a little bit if you're a Missouri Tiger fan.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's how I would say. I think you're going to be sweating it a little bit, given the jobs that are all open, especially as you were alluding to, if somebody like Lane Kiffin decides not to leave.
Yeah, if he stays, then it
Ole
really
Miss,
opens the door.
Then, I mean, we have to at least acknowledge that he's going to be very high on the list of, maybe already is, by the way, but especially if Lane Kiffin leaves. So, yeah, that'll be the sweat the rest of the way. And I do wonder if, unfortunately, with the injury at the quarterback, the way the rest of the season ends, and whether that is losing out, whether it's winning, a couple of these, they got Arkansas still. They should still beat Arkansas, I would think, later on in the year. But they also still have
they got Mississippi State this weekend, then Oklahoma, and then Arkansas.
They could beat Arkansas and Mississippi State still. I doubt they're going to be able to beat Oklahoma.
If Booker not back, then probably.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody believes he truly will be back.
Yeah.
Depending on how the year ends, I wonder if that impacts things for Eli too.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor might be just how far down the line Eli Drinkwitz is looking. One thing that I haven't heard talked a lot about is what the schedule looks like for the Missouri Tigers the next couple of years, right? There's not necessarily what you could consider an easy schedule in the SEC, but by all standards, this past season, this 2025 season, was a pretty relaxed schedule. Next year, in 2026, Mizzou has to go on the road to play Georgia. Their last 4 games of the year, Oklahoma, Texas, Texas A&M, and at Ole Miss. That is a much more difficult SEC slate than they had this past season. And then 2027 is probably even more difficult than that. They play Illinois in a neutral site game in a non-con. They play Bama, LSU, Auburn, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and that Oklahoma and A&M game on the road. So if he's trying to, I guess you could say, strike while the iron is hot, while he still is a hot commodity on the coaching trail, you might be staring down the barrel of a 7-5 and 6-6 season next year and the year after potentially having 3 consecutive double-digit win seasons. If you're trying to get one of those marquee jobs in college football, now might be the time if you're Eli Drinkwitz.
Yeah, Dave Aranda let that slip at Baylor. All of a sudden, he might be fired here relatively soon.
Yeah.
Matt Campbell let that opportunity slip. Now he's just hanging in there to go 7-5 every year. So, yeah, maybe strike while the iron's hot. Tonight, we got the CFP rankings released again. Of course, the AP poll does not matter. It's the CFP rankings. It feels like we're going to get a lot of shifting, maybe not necessarily amongst the top schools, but it feels like A&M might jump Indiana. I know that they, of course, won in dramatic fashion. But
A&M should be the number 1 team in the country.
But I think A&M obviously proved themselves. Ohio State is beating the brakes off of everybody, so I don't know how much or if they move at all. But also, you look at Oregon hanging in there against Iowa. Do they move up or do they move down? Do they stay about the same? Where does BYU end up? Where does Texas Tech jump to? I think there's a lot of shifting that can happen. The ACC is all of a sudden wide open, where Louisville and Virginia, the top 2 teams in the ACC, lose. It feels like we could get a much different top 25 tonight.
I don't know if you guys agree, and we all know there's another, 5 of these ranking shows, or 4 of them before we get to the actual one that counts. And we get the ultimate 12-team playoff figured out. I think, personally, I would have A&M number 1. I just would. I don't think that'll happen, but I personally would have A&M number 1. I would have Ohio State 2, Indiana still sitting at 3. You're like, they're going to move down? I understand it was an awesome ending to the game, but also let's remember why they needed that against Penn State. Right. As cool as it was, it might help Mendoza's Heisman case in a weird way, but from a team perspective. And then the only other thing, I would have Texas Tech jump Oregon.
Okay.
That'd be the only thing I would shift.
Obviously, the other thing, too, to pay attention to is that group of 5 deal where you're looking at...
What happened to Memphis? My goodness.
USF and Tulane are probably the better teams. Memphis earlier in the year lost to UAB. Of course, they didn't have Brandon Lewis, the quarterback. They dropped this weekend to Tulane. Feels like Tulane and USF and... Logan's new favorite team, the North Texas Mean Green.
That's your squad now?
Dude, they have maybe the best
Eric
story.
Morris and that,
It might be the best story in all of college football.
Cool.
with Brock
Denton, Texas.
Uh-huh.
I've driven by that stadium before, north of Dallas. Actually, a really nice stadium for size program.
And then also James Madison, JMU, the Dukes are 8-1. They could potentially be ranked, but that also is a fun race. Speaking of Group of 5 teams or Group of 6 teams, however you want to phrase it, Missouri State 6-3. They're technically bowl eligible, except for we find out again that there is no allowing of first-year FBS teams to make a bowl game,
unless the minimum required number of teams does not reach 6 wins. If fewer than 82 teams get to bowl eligibility, Missouri State will have an opportunity. Right now, there's only 59 teams that are bowl eligible and only 19 that have 5 wins. So there is still a chance.
Logan and Drew spent about 15 minutes before the show today talking about Missouri State and their chances of somehow finding a way.
You spent half a decade in Springfield. It's going to
I
latch
get
on to
it.
you
You're a
sometime.
Springfield guy. I get it. Now, Drew, I get why you, Logan. I don't know why. Look, we went to Springfield for a road trip. Interesting things happened there. And ever since then, Drew has been 100% on board with Missouri State. You did.
Missouri State's logo used to be my logo when I was in high school. It feels like there was an affiliation there somehow.
You can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. This Sunday, stream the Chiefs and Broncos live at 3:25. Then stay for the premiere of the new season of the hit original series Landman, all on Paramount Plus. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. I want to talk Royals a little bit. Noah Cameron finished 4th in the AL Rookie of the Year last night, and he's the only player that fits a certain criteria for this offseason. I'll explain what that is next.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Trey Smith. You're listening to Cody and Gold weekdays 10 to 2 on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Every big play starts with a first down, and every financial future starts with the right partner. Main Street Credit Union is not-for-profit and member-owned, which means we invest in you with guidance that's clear, tools that make sense, and people who actually listen. We're here to help you move the chains. Whatever your next move is, auto loan, savings goal, or paying off debt, let's make it one play at a time. Visit mainstreetcu.org to get started.
Hey, Chiefs fans, Crown Royal is the official whiskey of the Kansas City Chiefs. And this season, it's not game day without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. Whether you're at the tailgate, in the stands, or watching from home, Crown Royal is the reason and the reward for coming together. Grab a glass with the Crown Royal rig at a stadium near you, because we'll be sharing the generous spirit with fans across the country. Crown Royal, fueling game day with a generous spirit. Visit www.crownroyal.com/royal rig for more on the Crown Royal Rig Tour. Please drink responsibly.
Men, if the long lines to the bathroom have been holding you back from attending sporting events and you're waking up in the middle of the night dealing with frequent urination, it could be an enlarged prostate. Jeff Montgomery here to talk about the minimally invasive procedure I had that made a big difference. I went to Dr. Brown at Miva Medical, the leader in minimally invasive treatments in Kansas City. The procedure was quick and easy, and I'm very happy with the result. Don't put up with being uncomfortable. Contact Miva Medical. That's MIVA-medical.com.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs, with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
BetMGM is coming soon to Missouri. On November 17th, sports fans in Missouri can pre-register and get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if their first bet loses, plus an additional $100 in bonus bets if they deposit before December 1st. Enjoy a betting app that was designed for game day, with features like live bets, same-game parlays, BetMGM reward points, and surprise boosts dropping in your account all throughout the season. It's everything a sports fan could want in one app. Pre-registration is coming soon to Missouri on November 17th. BetMGM, make it legendary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements and minimum deposit of $10. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Pending BetMGM's licensure as a mobile sports wagering operator with the Missouri Gambling Commission register for a Missouri online sports wagering account 1117. BetMGM's insurance of welcome offer is conditional on full license.
Oh, hey, welcome to gift wrapping. Whoa, Zoe Saldana.
Hey, can you wrap these, please?
Wow, iPhone 17s. You splurged.
At T-Mobile, you can get 4 iPhone 17s on them. It's the perfect gift for everyone.
I'm the worst. I only got my mom a robe.
Well, it's better than socks.
So I have to trade in my old phone, right?
No, at T-Mobile, there's no trade-ins needed when you switch. Keep your old phone or give it as a gift.
Incredible.
In fact, wrap up my old phone, too. For my Aunt Rosa. Forget that. Aunt Liz will be jealous.
Sounds like my family. Drama.
Oh, I got it. I'll give it to my abuela. I'll take reindeer paper with, hey, where are you going?
To T-Mobile. Thanks, Zoe.
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Get 4 iPhone 17s on us. No trade-in needed when you switch. Plus 4 lines for just $25 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 4 eligible port-ins on essentials for well-qualified customers. Auto-pay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end in balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 256 gigabytes, $830 required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. You know, I love me some college football. We're right in the heart of the season, getting towards the very end. Also in the heart of football season in general. Basketball starting, hockey, MLB's in the offseason, but we're going to start to see more headlines pop up here. We love all of the athletes that we root for, and they got to be at peak performance and confident that they can perform when it matters most. You also should be more confident where it counts. I'm talking about Blue Chew, a small chew for a big difference, because showing up matters during life's most exciting moments. Be ready when she is. Blue Chew, they're licensed medical providers. They work with you to find the right ingredient for your prescription. And if you don't like swallowing pills, that's not a problem, because Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. You can also have your first month free of Blue Chew if you go to BlueChew.com and discover your options there and use the promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just got to cover $5 for shipping. That's it. Go to BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use the promo code KFNZ. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Happy Veterans Day from all of us here at 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold with you. Drew Nixon producing the show. Logan Weber filling in for Cody a couple times over the next week. Cody will be back on Wednesday. Bank in tomorrow and Thursday. Logan back with us on a Red Friday. Hope you guys are having a great day again on Veterans Day. We appreciate everybody that is currently serving and that have served our country. Obviously, a very important day here in the United States. So we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us today, and especially those that have served. So we'll get to the trash of the day in about 15 minutes or so. Chiefs Red Half Hour coming up in a half hour. Nate Taylor going to join us at 1 o'clock today, our Chiefs insider from ESPN. But yesterday, Major League Baseball announced the American League Rookie of the Year, the NL Rookie of the Year, and no surprise, Nick Kurtz was the Rookie of the Year on the AL side. Maybe a little more up in the air on the NL side, but it was Drake Baldwin, if you're wondering, catcher for the Atlanta Braves. Okay, fine. But more interestingly enough is where did Noah Cameron finish for those of us here in Kansas City? He finishes fourth, had an unbelievable rookie season, completely out of nowhere, if we're all being real. Great story. We also know the local connection to St. Joe as well. He actually got three second-place votes, as a matter of fact. Ended up with, 7 third-place votes. Finishes behind Roman Anthony of the Red Sox, Jacob Wilson, and then, as I said, Nick Kurtz. He finished just in front of Colson Montgomery from the White Sox. So he was the best American League rookie pitcher the entire season. That's a hell of an accomplishment for Noah Cameron. And so he's had a great year for this team, exceeded everybody's expectations. Remember the conversation we were having on this show, and I think every other show in the city for that matter probably, at the time, which was like, hey, what do they do when so-and-so gets healthy? Well, they're going to have to send Noah Cameron back down. Or, no, you can't send him back down. Remember, that was a real question. Yeah. The guy went on, though, Logan, to have the best rookie season as any pitcher in baseball last year on the American League side, that is. Although I could argue on the National League side, absolutely as well. Everybody talked about Jacob Mizorowski with the Brewers. Noah Cameron had better numbers than Mizorowski, even though he was the hotter name for a while. He was flashier and all that. What I think, though, yesterday's award tells us and adds to what the numbers told us from last year is that if we're looking at the offseason for the Royals, and we all agreed the biggest issue last year was offense, and the biggest issue in particular was outfield, lack of offense. You're starting opening day left fielder in AAA, your right fielder not in baseball at all in Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Dozier, both of them, right?
Yeah,
going back a couple years. Hunter Renfroe. And so those two players clearly should not have been on your opening day roster. People wanted them to make offseason moves. Well, you go into this offseason, how do you improve the outfield? So you hope that Cags is going to figure it out in his first full year as a big leaguer, assuming he makes the club out of the opening day roster out of spring training, and I think he will. But if you're going to improve the outfield, I don't think it's through free agency. Like, as much as I would love to sit here and say, oh, yeah, go spend $150 million on, I don't know, whether it's Kyle Schwarber or Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker, who's going to just get out of Chicago, it looks like, and is going to probably be the biggest offseason signing period in all baseball, it looks like. Okay, yeah, that would be the easy solution, but let's be realistic. I don't think they're in that territory. All right, well, then there's only one way to improve it. That's to trade for an outfielder. Okay, how do I do that? I have a luxury of catching, prospect-wise, Blake Mitchell. I have enormous depth with starting pitching. And as I go through starting pitching, I think Noah Cameron clearly has the most value. Now, that means he has the most value to you as well, and you love team control. But Noah Cameron has more control than anybody else you could possibly trade at the big league level from a pitching perspective. He's coming off an unbelievable rookie season. If you want to improve the outfield, Noah Cameron needs to be traded.
The first thing I've got is that I would absolutely love to disagree with you, but I can't, right? I love the idea of keeping Noah Cameron on this Royals roster because of how good he was last year, because of how much team control is still he's got less than a year of MLB service time, so this Royals team would still have 2 more years before he even reaches the 3 years of arbitration. All those things are great, but all those things you could say help his trade value at the same time. And when you look at the rest of this roster, right, yeah, Cole Reagans is great, and he looked great when he came back from the injury, but there is a lengthy injury history with Cole Reagans already there. As much team control as a team would have trading for him, you're concerned about the injury history. Same thing resides with Chris Bubich, on top of the fact that he only has 1 more year of team control with arbitration. And the age of guys like Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha are going to be great deterrents. And when you look at guys like Kolek or Bergert, yeah, you have team control, but they haven't had the same semblance of success as somebody like a Noah Cameron. As much as I would love for him to stay in Kansas City, if you're going to trade a pitcher and get what you want, which is an MLB-ready bat, not even an MLB-ready bat, but an MLB-proven bat in the outfield, I feel like it has to be Noah Cameron.
Yeah, Chris Bubich, look, it's unfortunate the injury because, we all know he was pitching very, very well before that, and there was trade rumors and everything like that. And now it feels like, I don't know if they will end up extending him. Like, he might be somebody that we're talking a year from now or whatever, just not on the club. Because someone texted in and said, you can keep Cameron, trade Bubich. I understand why you would want to do that. You're not getting enough back anymore for Chris Bubic, unfortunately, to where you're fixing the outfield problem. This, like, in a perfect world, I keep all of them. And I just go spend. It's not my money. Exactly. Not my money. Go spend $150 million and go fix the outfield. I don't think that's realistic, though. And I agree with your point on Cole Reagans. I don't think they're trading Cole Reagans. Chris Bubic, to me, doesn't have any trade value right now. At least Cole Reagans, I saw pitch a couple outings and look really good at the end of the year. So I feel
off of the injury.
So I feel much better about him heading into 2026, my opening day starter, most likely, and all that. Seth Lugo, I just don't think with the contract and everything, the time to trade him, and I have no issue with them not doing it at the time, and I still am fine with it now. But I know a lot of people wanted them to trade Lugo at the trade deadline. That would have been the time to trade him, not now. Ryan Burkert, yes, has a lot of control. I don't think you're getting as much for him. I would just hold on to him. The only guy that has value in terms of getting what I think they need is Noah Cameron. There is no other name in the rotation. So, yeah, I would rather trade Burkert and Chris Bubic than trade Noah Cameron. I don't believe that gets you what you need. That's all I'm saying. Now, if you want to package somebody with Blake Mitchell, we can maybe have a conversation. I just don't think – I think you guys would be stunned the lack of value would get for Chris Bubic at this point in time. He is not pitched in a very long time now because of the injury, and you don't know for sure. Unless they do this, which would be, I think, really tricky. All right, you go to spring training. We're out in Arizona. Chris Bubic has 2 outings or whatever for Cactus League. Looks great. All right, then you trade him, but who's going to trade with you at that point? So it's really tricky. I know not necessarily the most popular opinion, given the local ties that Noah Cameron has, given the fact that he was awesome last year. Great story. Did nothing wrong or anything like that. He just presents you the most value to go fix what was the clear issue with this baseball team last year. Now, they go out and they revamp the hitting program, right? I know Alex Zumwalt is back. You know my thoughts there. But they bring in 2 new hitting coaches. All right, maybe that fixes things a little bit. But are we going to be sitting here with the same outfield problems in May and in June, or April, May, and June, and say, wow, it sure would have been nice if they did blank? So a lot of this is Noah Cameron has the most value. And I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that there's also still part of me that wonders, was that the best that we'll ever see Noah Cameron look? And let some other team have to answer that. That's
a valid question to ask. You know, I mean, can you expect him to continue to throw a sub-3 ERA for the remainder of his career? I don't know if you can hang your hat on that. And when you have an embarrassment of riches at a certain spot and you have glaring holes in other places, sometimes you have to pull the trigger on something, right? Like, I would love to see, and it will never happen, I would love to see the Royals pair a Noah Cameron with a Blake Mitchell and try to go after a left fielder. And I'm not saying an outfielder. I'm saying a left fielder specific player, because we've seen this Royals team over and over and over again take a guy who had a natural position and try to put him somewhere else, and it didn't work. We saw them try to do that with Michael Garcia when they put him at second base and when they put him in left field. It just wasn't the same player. We've seen it with Jack Caglione going from first base to right field. I think it more or less killed MJ Melendez's career going from catcher to left field. Find a guy who plays left field and throw him out there. Do I think the Royals could acquire a Tyler Soderstrom from the A's? No. Would I love it? Absolutely. But what about maybe a Gavin Lux with the Cincinnati Reds, who's coming off of a really good year, a guy who is a left fielder? I don't know. But I feel like for the value that you're trying to get back by trading away one of these pitchers, you are going to have to trade one. You've got arguably 7 guys that can be a starting pitcher for your team, if not more. You got to get rid of somebody to try to get value back in the outfield. Why not take some big swings? If you believe in Carter Jensen as the catcher of the future for you, doesn't really leave much of a place for Blake Mitchell outside of a position change, which I also don't love the idea of. And
J.J. Piccolo was on. I wasn't here last week when he spoke, but I think he was on with Cody last week, and they asked him basically just about kind of the depth in certain areas, and it sounds like, as you would expect, they've received calls on their catching depth. We know what he means when he says that. Mm-hmm. They've received calls on their starting pitching depth. So there will be some opportunities. Whether they actually act on them to think it's the best move and all that, we're going to find out over the next couple of months. I think GM meetings are in Vegas, aren't they? Like next week or something like that. I think that's right. And so those will be meetings that set up future moves potentially in December and into January as well. I'm just saying, I think, really, in my opinion, the only way to truly improve in a dramatic way the outfield is to trade somebody like Noah Cameron.
Yeah.
Can they make some other minor moves or go sign another out? Of course. Is it going to be the biggest boost? I think if you don't make a trade for an outfielder, then you really are banking on him. And look, this might just be the reality of where they're at as a payroll and everything. You might just be banking on Jack Caglione figuring it out. And look, that solves a lot of problems if he does.
Right,
absolutely. Solves a ton of problems if he does.
At right field, but not necessarily in left.
For sure. So we'll see. I just thought, Cameron, congratulations to him, by the way. Again, 4th place finish in AL Rookie of the Year is a hell of an accomplishment. I think he probably had a case to finish even a little bit better than that. Probably would have had him finish ahead of Roman Anthony in 3rd. Not that it really matters. But
I think he should have.
When I saw that last night, I wanted to talk more about something that we kind of echoed at the end of the regular season anyway. But Noah Cameron has the most value of any starting pitcher to me on the trade market for the Royals. 15 minutes from now, we'll get to the Chiefs' Red Half Hour. All right, briefly before we get to the trash of the day, we all know during the show yesterday, Logan, Brian Daboll was fired by the New York Giants. So that is now 2 openings in the NFL, the Giants, the Tennessee Titans. And yesterday, I was trying to think, what other jobs we think open up? And Mike McDaniel in Miami seems to be one that we all would agree is probably going to open up, although they were very impressive the other day. That team has not quit on him. I think he will get to finish out the rest of the regular season, but then likely is let go. And we'll see if he gets another head coaching job in the future. I will say press conferences like this, though, are why I will miss him being a head coach. That's for sure. So I don't know if you guys saw the story. After they beat the Bills, there was a photo of what someone clearly looked like Mike McDaniel driving past a bar in Miami where it's a clear Bills hangout, like a clear Bills bar. And so he's trolling them. And, of course, it goes viral. Yesterday at his press conference, Mike McDaniel was asked about whether or not it was him.
Well, that's why I like the good old days, the throwbacks of yore where you could trust, the internet and the images because, it is pretty detailed. That I do live in that area, but, I mean, AI, right? So it doesn't answer the question. Well, I mean... I live in that area. AI is real. That's what I got for you.
Just a bizarre.
Okay.
Bizarre. It was him, okay? It was him. Look, as much as we've said, hey, watch out for the fake photos and AI, answer. It was, guys, absolutely was Mike McDaniel in the photo. Absolutely. This is not one of those fake Facebook articles where, like, the guy's hands are all weird and you're like, how did you get duped by this? Somebody's driving in a car right next to the Bills bar, right after they beat the Bills. It's Mike McDaniel. And the way he answered, it's clearly Mike McDaniel.
It's got to be.
Why wouldn't he just be, he's just like, yeah, man, it was me.
It's a terrible look. Like, firstly, you're not going to admit
I think it's hilarious. Because you're going to get fired anyway. Like, just go, he's basically going full Todd Haley. Just F it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, fair. A little bit. Yeah. I can understand his desire to not admit that it was him because it does. While it is funny, you do look kind of foolish for, like, going around joyriding after you beat a good team to get to 3-7. Like, who cares legitimately? But I don't know.
For him to go AI, right? Like, it's such a it screams like surf bro.
But that's Mike McDaniel's whole vibe forever.
I love
the guy was vaping on the sideline a year or two ago.
His vibe is incredible. I would love, like, if you had to pick any NFL coach to hang out with, Mike McDaniel should absolutely be in your top 5, if not in your top 3, or maybe even the guy. Like, I feel like he has to be on. He feels like he would be a fun time being in that situation.
Top 5 coaches I would want to hang. NFL coaches I want to hang. Head coaches.
Mike McDaniel's on that list.
He would, just because he's fascinating. Yeah. Trying to think. Okay, so Mike McDaniel would be, I don't know, in any order. He'd be on the list.
I would say Sean McVay. But Sean McVay,
thinking that way too.
He feels like one of those dudes that, like, you could only talk about football with Sean McVay. He's got nothing else going on.
I'm all about just being entertained and also being intrigued by the conversation. I'll go Jim Harbaugh as well because that conversation could go in a million different places. Yeah. I'd add him to the list as a coach to hang out with. Who am I missing? Vrabel. I'll put Mike Vrabel on the list as well.
It's a good one.
2 more. Oh boy.
Give me Pete Carroll.
Okay.
No? Yeah, just
what's your reasoning behind Pete? You need to feel like he's a good dude.
First of all, I feel like Pete's got to have some incredible stories.
Oh, going back to
my God,
USC
to his
days?
time
Yeah,
at US, there's got to be some wild, just nutty USC
I'd
stories,
say
man.
I'd say Mike Tomlin, and then the last coach to hang out with. Oh, Ben Johnson.
Yeah, Ben Johnson.
I think Dan Campbell would be a.
Oh, I forgot about him.
I think Dan Campbell would also be a fascinating.
Dan Campbell's probably a good answer. Yeah. Huh. Text line. A lot of people saying
Dan Campbell would bite me.
A lot of people saying Dan Campbell. Yeah, I forgot about Dan Campbell. We'll take. Who can I take off the list? I don't know. Take out Mike Tomlin. Put in Dan Campbell for this conversation.
Man, why is nobody talking about Nick Sirianni in this context? Huh? What do we think? What do we think?
I can't stand
I'm being
him.
completely facetious.
Cannot stand him.
I am
just
absolutely joking.
what a d-bag.
Do not take that seriously.
Honestly, just what a complete
Someone said
d-bag.
a bottom 5 coach would be Mike McDaniel. I think you're crazy. I think you'd have a good old time
To hang out with
Mike
Are
McDaniel.
you wanting to smoke? What are you wanting to do? Drew, is this what you're hoping just to hang out and just chill?
This has nothing to do with. I have not smoked a single thing in my life. This does not have anything to do with.
You could line up 100
potential weed.
human beings and put one person in a room and say, which one do you think consumed an edible in the last 4 hours? Mike McDaniel's getting chosen 100 times.
Logan, a lot of people giving you crap for the Pete Carroll. What are you going to bed by 6 o'clock, eating Werther's Originals and having a warm glass of milk?
Whoa, what's wrong with Werther's Originals?
Oh,
I don't understand. I think they're fantastic.
Wait, do you have a bowl of them on your?
God, no. No,
Okay.
I don't eat the hard candy.
Okay.
I don't eat the hard candy one. They got to be the caramel, good God ones.
Caramel? Uh-huh.
Yes.
Trash of the day.
All right. So I have one for you, but I'll just read you the headline of one real quick so you guys can figure this out. A man named Pancake was arrested in Florida. Yeah. Can you guys care to guess? I'm not going to read into the details because it's kind of dark. We'll get to a different one. But what do you think Pancake did? Any guesses?
Is it like a public indecency? Was he just like pouring a can of Aunt Jemima's syrup on himself?
Pancake. Eric Pancake.
His last name
Eric
is
spelled with a
Pancake?
K.
Oh.
E-R-I-K, Pancake. He's unfortunately accused of hitting his elderly father. That's why I don't want to dive deeper into it.
This
but
guy's
the
gotta be
name
from Florida, right?
Yes, Florida man. Yeah,
Always
man
is,
named
It always is.
Pancake.
Of course.
The real trash of the day is this story in France where a gentleman was digging a hole for a swimming pool. The next day, he found $800,000 worth of gold. So this happened actually about a year ago, but this story, for whatever reason, came to light yesterday. I came across this. The unidentified man discovered the 5 gold bars and many coins buried in his yard. He actually called authorities, though, and they investigated. They found out the gold had been melted down 15, 20 years ago, was obtained legally by the previous owner of the property, so the man was allowed to keep and not have to give back the gold. Now, I have a couple questions. Number one, if they found out that it was from the previous owner of the property, a lawyer can tell me how this works. If there's gold buried in Logan's backyard, he just bought his house 9 months ago. If there's gold in the backyard, that's his forever, doesn't matter? Like it's not the previous owner?
Right.
It's yours?
Ownership is 9/10 of the law, presumably.
So it's yours. So that's the first question. The other one is, would you have called authorities anyway? This guy called the police and said, hey, by the way, there's a bunch of gold bars buried in my backyard. Would you have called police, or would you just been like, well, I don't want to find out if this is illegal or not? Would you just take... But why did he even call the police?
I don't know. My question is...
It's on his property.
Why do you have $800,000 of gold that you obtained legally and then melted it? Who melts down, like, legally acquired gold? Like, that is quintessential.
That's a good question. I don't know. All I'm saying
illegal
is
behavior.
I'm not... If I have a home and I'm digging in the backyard and I find... 5 gold bars, I find any gold, I'm not calling the police and saying, hey, by the way, I have 5 gold bars. You want to check it out?
Absolutely not.
No.
That's going to the grave. Yeah, Mike, one of the other questions, this must have been a man putting in the pool himself.
Yes, that's what it is.
Because it couldn't have been
he was digging a hole for a pool.
I could understand if it was like a company that he had hired out and they found the gold. Then I feel like there's a different situation there. But this has got to be a man putting it in himself.
Someone says, Praisier, when they sold the house, they gave their bundle of rights to the buyer, include subservice rights. Someone says, establishing the legality of the gold ensures you get full value for it. Okay.
Oh,
I'm just... You risk, though, you dig it up, and it's like, I don't know. you find out it's from like some heist or something,
Right.
and then you're
Then it's gone.
Yeah,
Then
you're
they
like,
just
well,
take it?
shoot, I should have. Here's what you do: you call and you say you found 4 gold bars, you keep one, you hide
Just
one,
in case,
just in
right?
case,
Yeah.
just in case.
Hedge your bets a little
I
bit.
think so. I think so. All right, that is the trash of the day. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. We get back into what Andy Reid had to say about Xavier Worthy and his role moving forward. Plus, Andy Reid's track record after bye weeks. Does it matter in this circumstance on Sunday? We'll explain that next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
More than a few of our patients have talked to me about their first time, but it's not the first time you're probably thinking about. It's the first time that erectile dysfunction ruined the moment. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're over 50, it's likely that you've had that first time yourself. But the good news is that if you're like most men, that first time can be the last time that ED impacts your sex life. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men using protocols with success rates well over 90%. And those treatments have, in most cases, made sex great again for both them and their partners. You could even find that you're performing like you haven't in years. So if ED has been affecting your intimacy, it's time to make the last time that happens the last time that happens. For just $99, you'll receive blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey folks, I've got a couple of important questions for you. Do you know how much money you need to retire? Do you have a plan in place for your loved ones? If your answer is no, it's time to get your financial planning on track with UMB Private Wealth. It's never too late to start. Plus, their team supports you at every step of the planning process. Go to umb.com/private wealth to schedule your appointment. That's umb.com/private wealth. Why not start today?
Hi, I'm Emily, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company, where a small box with a burgundy bow will help you win the holidays. As an in-house designer, I love creating meaningful, fine jewelry gifts. Choose a necklace with a gorgeous infinity charm to symbolize your everlasting love. Or go for a personalized piece with an engraving, their zodiac sign, favorite color gemstone, or their initial accented with pave diamonds. Because a friend wants you to be a holiday hero. Stop by or shop now at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It was just last week that 16 new students started their Centric journey. Before Centric, they were in the military, driving delivery trucks, handling package, managing warehouses, so much more, even finance. Now, they're all training for new careers in cybersecurity.
And at Centric, your background doesn't matter. Cody, you listed off some of the backgrounds of the students, but you know what does matter? Your future. And cybersecurity is the future, and Centric can help make it yours. Go to Centric.com, book a call with our friend Russ Mondry today.
Save time when you shop online with Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee makes it easy to order groceries online through our app or Hy-Vee.com. Pickup is always free. And if you have a Perks Plus membership, you get free delivery and free express pickup. Shop online with Hy-Vee and you can create and save grocery lists, shop the sales, and get fuel savers. Talk about convenience. Order groceries online today. Check out Hy-Vee.com or download the Hy-Vee app.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Makita's built for the pros who show up early, who don't do shortcuts,
only precise cuts. With tools built to last, job after job, year after year. Performance that pays off, because when the job calls for the best, you answer. And when you need the best, you call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Straight Talk knows the best holiday gift is simply saying yes.
Yes, you can stay up late. Sure, more cookies. Of course we can watch that movie again.
That's why we give you real unlimited data, so you can say yes to all of your family's streaming, scrolling, and sharing. And now at Straight Talk, get another gift worth giving, a free 5G phone with select plans. Because yes is the best gift to give.
Yes!
And receive. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-922-1284. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284.
Let's qualify for enrollment. Results vary. Consult with your tax professional prior to enrollment.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour is brought to you by All Weather Decks, Kansas City's most respected deck builder. We will discuss Andy Reid post-bye week, his success, and why maybe it doesn't matter as much this week. Coming up in 8 minutes or so. You guys can always interact with us on the Jays Southland Tow Service text line 913-586-7965. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon, Logan Weber with you here on a Tuesday. So Andy Reid yesterday around noon spoke to the media. Maybe you caught some of that press conference here exclusively on 96.5 The Fan, and he was asked about Xavier Worthy and how do you get him, more involved? Because last week against Buffalo, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it is at this point, 3 catches, 23 yards on 7 targets. The week before, 5 catches, 7 targets for 53. Week before that, 3 catches, 4 targets, 35 yards. And as we noted, the rushing number has been 1 carry for like 13, then no carries and 1 carry. Do you think they actually need to get Xavier Worthy more involved? This was Andy Reid's answer.
Well, we try to get them all involved the best we can. Some games you're just going to have that where, they're taking somebody away, and that's how it goes. That's happened. How the coverage goes. That's how the play call goes. So on. But we're not down on Xavier Worthy. We know he's a good player, and we like to get the ball in the good players' hands. The best way we can. So it just hasn't rolled that way.
A couple things to me has contributed to this. One, Rashee Rice is back, and so the offense is running through him. when Rice was still out and Worthy had come back from the dislocated shoulder, he was still like their biggest playmaking option other than maybe Travis Kelce. So that's part of this. The other thing, though, in the receiving game, I'm looking at the targets at least. Now, maybe we want to see targets further down the field or whatever, but 7 targets a game the last 2 games, that's kind of about right for my number 2 receiver when I have Rice, when I have Travis Kelce, when I have Hollywood Brown healthy as well, when I have Tyquan Thornton available, although he hasn't really played all that much. So I don't really think suddenly, I need him getting 10 targets a game. In fact, the time he got around there was 9 targets in the Jags game. Remember, there was still no Rashee Rice at that point. He had 6 catches for 42 yards. So it's not so much that I think he needs to be targeted more. Yeah, I think you and I hit on this earlier, which is, can they get him involved in the run game as jet sweep extension stuff? And if Isaiah Pacheco is not available Sunday, we don't know that to be true, but I think his status is up in the air. Well, then you might need to have both Rice in that Wildcat role, Worthy not in the Wildcat role, but Worthy on the in around, jet sweeps, touch pass, etc., to get the ball in an explosive playmaker's hand.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily about this Chiefs team is not looking to get him the football, because the targets indicate that they are.
Right.
But maybe you are a little bit more precise in how you go about him getting those targets, because they are still using him and throwing him the ball once, maybe even twice a game in terms of deep routes down the field. And that might be why he's only got 8 catches on those 14 targets in the last 2 weeks, right? Look to get him the football in that 5 to 8 yard range. Get him the ball on a tunnel screen or a bubble route with somebody out in front trying to block. Get him one-on-one in space, chances to use his speed to take a 6-yard play and turn it into a 30-yard play, because the speed does exist there. I don't think that it's laterally. It's definitely vertical. It's getting north and south. That's what kind of differentiates him and Tyreek Hill in a lot of respects, is Tyreek was so good getting east and west and using it to get north and south. Worthy doesn't really have that sort of agility, I don't think. But instead of just saying, hey, run as fast as you can down the field and we're going to see if we can throw it to you, and he's stuck in a one-on-one in press coverage, or it's a shell look with a safety over the top and it just isn't working out, just try to find more effective ways to get him the football and see if he can make something happen after the catch rather than using the catch as the way to generate huge yards.
I wonder, the shots down the field, as much as we saw during training camp, much like a year ago, the best they have looked going down the field has still been to Tyquan Thornton. Mm-hmm. And so nobody is suggesting that Tyquan Thornton is a better receiver, and if they are, I think they're wrong, than Xavier Worthy. However, down the field, the rapport that Mahomes has with Thornton has been better. Tyquan Thornton can make contested catches. That's just not really in the game for Worthy, given his size. Also, let's remember, he is still playing hurt. Like, he's playing with a brace still on a dislocated shoulder, which absolutely has to have some sort of impact to what we're discussing. But if you're looking for Worthy to have more success down the field, so am I. I just wonder for this year, with where things still stand, their best deep threat option continues to be Tyquan Thornton, and he's struggling to get on the field because, luckily, everybody's been healthy. And so I'm not suggesting that Thornton should be out-snapping Xavier Worthy by any means, but if you're wanting to stretch the field, I don't really know if that's Worthy at this point. Just for whatever reason, the connection's not there. I think it's more likely on Sunday against the Broncos that it's going to be kind of what you were suggesting, other than the run game stuff, is it's going to be the bubble screen. It's going to be a quick slant and see if you can get some yards after the catch kind of stuff for Worthy moving forward. I actually really don't have much of an issue with how involved he is. I like the production, I think we all would, to be more than 3 catches for 23 yards, but he's being targeted 7 times. So I have to go back and watch all 7 targets, Logan, to find out, were 2 of them deep shots, was one a bad throw, was one a drop, etc., to figure that out. But if you tell me on Sunday against the Broncos he's targeted 7 times, he has 2 carries, and that I'm happy with that. That's potentially 9 touches.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Absolutely. It comes down to, as I said, I think that they are looking for ways to get him the football, just maybe a little bit safer, more effective, more precise ways of getting it. Instead of trying to throw it to him 35 yards down the field, hit him on an 8-yard crossing route. I don't know, hit him on a zig route 4 yards off the line of scrimmage and put him on the sideline one-on-one with a corner and see if he can just beat him.
He can win man-to-man. Yeah, someone even on the text line was saying, like, if you're going to be going up a defense that's going to be running a little more man, and look, the Bills did that. I'm expecting the Broncos to do that, whereas Washington and the Raiders were playing very soft zone at times, and so there was some more opportunities for other guys in the offense. I think for the Chiefs to beat the Broncos, Xavier Worthy's going to have to win in some of those opportunities on crossing routes. I would agree there. But I'll be curious to see if they try to have Rice and Worthy a little bit more involved in the extension of the run game. And I told you earlier, I love the way they are using Rashee Rice in the Wildcat formation. I think that is, for the rest of his career, is a huge asset for him, whether he's in Kansas City long-term or not. I think they clearly like that package. It's been successful. There's a bunch of wrinkles off of it that we haven't even seen, I'm sure. But he looks like Deebo Samuel back there. Now, I don't think they're going to be handing it to him 5 times.
Right. That was the only thing I had was like, let's be a little bit, safe with how often we're using that, unless you want to end up with Rashee Rice having the injury issues that Deebo has 4 years from now.
Exactly. And so you definitely want to be cautious there. But Rice looks natural back to, why? Because he was a running back before. So that if you're wondering why does he look so comfortable with the ball in his hands as a receiver anyway, we've seen that yards after the catch, but that's why he looks so good in the backfield as well. So this is the week where if Pacheco is at, I wonder if you see it more from Worthy and Rice in that way. And also Brashard Smith. That's the other conversation we could have is if you're not going to have Pacheco, as much as Kareem Hunt's been effective, Brashard Smith should get more of an opportunity. He is still the most explosive back that they have if we're not including, when Rashee Rice is lined up as a Wildcat.
Yeah, I look at this matchup with the Denver Broncos and I agree with you. This front four is so good at getting to the quarterback. There's 4 teams in the NFL that have 30 or more sacks. They have 46, which is 14 more than anybody else in the league. So you're going to have to get the ball out of your hands quickly. Even if the Chiefs' offensive line has a good day, you're not going to hold down this Broncos team defensively for 4 quarters when it comes to pressuring the quarterback. And if Pat Surtain can't play in this game, you find ways to get those weapons the football and make things happen. I think getting Brashard Smith more involved, getting Xavier Worthy more effective targets, it allows for things to happen because outside of Talanoa Hufanga, there's nobody in that Broncos secondary that really scares you. I'm an Iowa guy. I love Riley Moss. I know that there's people in Mizzou fans who love Chris Abrams-Drain. Those 2 guys are not superstar corners in this league, and Brandon Jones is sort of your run-of-the-mill free safety. You can make things happen if you put your weapons in one-on-one situations to go out and beat guys, because I think that this Chiefs wide receiver core is more athletically gifted and talented than this Broncos secondary.
One of the trends that gets brought up anytime the Chiefs have a bye week is Andy Reid's track record out of a bye week. And the record is unbelievable, right? And now it's 22-4. The Chiefs, of course, coming off a bye in week 10. They get set to take the Broncos 3:25 kickoff right here on 96.5 The Fan. So do I buy into it? Yeah, I buy into it. Self-scouting, rest, making adjustments, showing looks, all that is true. I don't know if it's as impactful heading into this one because the Broncos just played in that clunker Thursday night game against the Raiders last week. Right. We all saw it. And as bad as the Broncos look, they look terrible. They still found a way to win. They had a mini bye themselves. And you don't think that they're going to considering how bad that performance was against the Raiders, you think that they're not going to have some adjustments as well. So, yes, Andy Reid's track record out of the bye week is very impressive. I think some of that is limited, the advantage you get this go-around, only because the Broncos played on a Thursday night. So you don't even get the luxury of that full go. Whereas when you play the Colts the following week, they get the full bye week. Because the Colts don't, is that right, or am I off on that? The Colts are on a bye this week, are they not? Or am I off on that, guys?
I'm double checking really quick.
They just played internationally, so they're on a bye. Yeah, yes. So they're on a bye. So they will get a full bye heading into the Chiefs game. The Chiefs get a full bye, but their opponent gets a half bye.
One. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that there's going to be less of a strategic advantage for the Chiefs in this game than we usually see out of a bye week because the Broncos have 10 days of rest compared to the Chiefs having 14. I think that the biggest thing about the bye for this Chiefs team is going to be just the health of this roster. We saw this offensive line get really, really banged up over the last few weeks. You know, Trey Smith was dealing with the back issue, although he played the entire Bills game. He's now had 2 weeks pretty much to get himself a little bit more healthy. Jawan Taylor, same thing. After he left that game against Buffalo, Jalen Moore left for a little bit of that game as well. He was dealing with some injury issues. Josh Simmons is now back in the building after missing time with the personal issue. So I think that you're going to have opportunities to see guys get a little bit healthier here, and that's going to be the biggest advantage, I think, for the Kansas City Chiefs compared to the Broncos, and it's not as much of a strategic advantage, I would say.
So, yeah, they're healthy, but I would say the Chiefs, knock on wood, they've been, and people will hate me saying this, they've been as healthy as any team in football the Chiefs have this year. Like that,
I would argue more healthy than any team in football.
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing. I understand they're 5-4, and last year they had injuries and all that, and they ended up winning 15 games. They only have 5 wins, and yet the injuries have not been the excuse or anything. Like, that has not been the problem. They have a very healthy roster. For this late in the season, it's actually kind of freaks me out a little bit how healthy it is. Because it makes me a little nervous that their regression is about to happen. But like,
when's the other shoe going to drop?
For whatever reason, like they are very, very healthy, and so that part of it, like other than the Josh Simmons aspect and his off the field issue, whatever that is, they really have not been limited because of many injuries. Like, I understand Rice, well, that was a suspension, that wasn't an injury. Worthy, he is still hurt because of the dislocated shoulder, but he's been very effective, even though we just got done saying we would like to see him more. So I actually think this the question is Pacheco this week, because other than that, I actually don't think they've had a true injury for weeks now that have impacted them. Week 1, the Chargers game, and that was a disaster. But other than that, they've been as healthy, and as I would actually probably agree with you, healthier than any other team in football. So that's an advantage they kind of have had every single week anyway.
Completely agree. It was just the concerns you had about the offensive line following the Bills game when you knew Trey Smith was a little bit banged up and Jawan Taylor leaves, Jalen Moore's dealing with his issues, and all 3 of those guys should be a full go, plus you're getting Josh Simmons back. So the health of your offensive line is one thing to discuss, but the depth of the offensive line increases exponentially because you now have 2 options at left tackle. You don't see Jawan Taylor leave the game, and you're rolling with Wanye Morris at right tackle, which became a disaster from the word go when he entered that game against Buffalo.
Yeah, and look, like in-game injuries, like somebody was mentioning, you just said it, and someone else was mentioning, like when Wanye had to come in. I don't count that. Like the injuries that we talk about and we've seen across the NFL, where guys are missing a month or out for the year and stuff. That's what I'm saying. The Chiefs have avoided that to this point in time. That's what I mean by they're the healthiest team in football. Yeah. And it is as nerve-wracking as that might be for someone that believes in jinxes and everything like that. But like the guy gets hurt in game and Kingsley and he misses a snap. That doesn't count. Okay, like that just doesn't count. Right. We're talking about guys missing multiple games. And yeah, Worthy. The first 2 games of the year you can point to, I guess. I would argue in week 1, while much of their game plan was clearly involving Worthy, the Chiefs defensively were just not good enough. Like, to me, with Worthy, the Chiefs still lose that game against the Chargers.
Herbert still threw for 303 scores.
I still think the Chiefs lose it. Now, if you want to argue about the Philadelphia game, I'll maybe listen a little bit more to that one. But the Chargers game, to me, guys, they were losing that game. They just were not on it whatsoever. That was a game that they had. So someone says play 3 plays against the Chargers in Brazil. I get it. It changed their entire game plan offensively. But what Logan just said, defensively, the Chiefs had nothing going against the Chargers in week 1. To me, that's not one where I point and say, man, if they had Worthy, they would have won the game. Personally,
maybe they could have.
I just disagree. That's all.
They could have kept pace a little bit better. Because that offense was awful.
Yeah, and I understand they lost by 6 points.
So maybe you could have been a little bit more effective offensively throughout the 4 quarters of that football game. But still, even if they were more effective, it's just more opportunities for the Chargers offense to score, and the defense could not stop that Chargers offense to save their lives in that one.
All right, coming up in 12 minutes, we'll get to what's trending, and we'll also get back into some of the contenders to actually win the Super Bowl, plus all 32. But we didn't get into this towards the end of the show yesterday when the news came out, but we were talking pre-show about this whole, and Vinnie brought it up too, our NFL insider, YouTube TV, ESPN, Disney dispute mess, which continues. Is this the second full week now that we've been dealing with this stuff? Crazy.
Yeah, this past weekend was
So this is dragged on. This is dragged on longer than most of these. A lot of these are usually like 1 week thing, and then they figure it out. This one's different because you have the ESPN app now, and there's a little more pushback to it. Well, you guys probably remember they said they were going to offer like a $20 credit. if this continues to drag on. And they are. YouTube TV is. And you're a YouTube TV guy, right?
I am not.
You're Hulu. Drew, you're
Hulu.
YouTube TV.
Yes.
I have YouTube TV. And so, as I mentioned to Vinny, Monday Night Football last night was also on ABC. So I went with the old school indoor antenna, and that's all I used, which Vinny made us feel very, very old when he didn't know what I was talking about with the indoor antenna, the bunny ears or whatever. But anyway.
Like, I'm the same age as Vinny, and I know what that is.
He didn't know. It made me feel very old. But the joke here is that the $20 credit, you have to go and actually apply. You have to log into your Google account, go to YouTube TV, go to like the settings tab, then click on credits, and then like check a box and submit it. Why? What are we doing? I mean, I know why they don't. They want to they're hoping people forget and don't do it and they save their money. But just apply the $20 credit to everybody's bill. What are we doing here? This is crazy.
I did get an email actually.
Did you?
20 minutes ago from YouTube saying to redeem it. I don't know if they're sending those out
Did you go already into your account and hit?
I haven't done it yet, but I got the email. I know I need to do it.
They're sending out emails,
I got
but
the
I
email
shouldn't.
Today.
I should not even have to click on a link in my
I agree.
email.
Yeah, they should
you
just give it to
guys haven't figured your bleep out. Neither has ESPN and Disney. You can apply my $20 credit without me having to check a box and log into my account and go through hurdles. This is crazy.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing in the absolute wrong way. Just apply the $20 credit to your bill.
It should be more than $20 too, by the way.
For next month or for this month.
It's
if
for
you
next
haven't,
month,
yeah,
I think,
for next month. And just go. Just leave it at that. I mean, you're going to make you're already forcing your customers to have to jump through all these hoops. And I'm not putting all the blame on
no, both
YouTube
parties
TV
are to blame for
at
sure.
all. Yeah. Like I don't. The only reason I don't have to deal with this is because I'm already in bed with the devil that is Disney because I have Hulu Live TV. Right, so yeah, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't a little bit.
Logan strikes me as somebody that you like. I don't know if you do this. I could see you and your wife like all about Disney. Like I could see you guys just having all the Disney shows, going to Disney World twice a year. I could see all of it.
Not so much like going to Disney, but we are big Disney. I'm a huge like Marvel fan, and of course Disney owns Marvel. Disney. They own ESPN. Disney owns everything.
Someone says
they're trying to monopolize the streaming market. No question about it.
Someone says they sent an email. They aren't trying to hide the credit. I understand they sent an email, and someone said it's very simple. You click one button. I am just saying that for something that is their fault along with Disney's, and the customer should not have to even go and quote unquote apply for the $20 credit. What? Why? We all know why. It's because they're hoping you forget. They're hoping they can get a few extra million of credits they don't have to hand out. So yeah, you're right. It is going to take me, and I already did it, 60 seconds to go and apply the bill credit. That's not the point. Other than the whole thing being annoying, it is that they are making you apply for a credit. That should not. Why would I have to opt in? Like someone's gonna be mad that they got a $20 credit?
Yeah, I'm really trying to. I'd love for YouTube TV and ESPN and Disney to figure Google essentially and Disney to figure it out because I really don't want to jump. I've done the trials and stuff, and it just feels, I don't know if it's just my loyalty, but it feels like YouTube TV is, I'm comfortable with it.
Oh, I love YouTube TV.
I don't want to change,
I'm just it's frustrated right now.
Yeah. Well, if we're being honest, though, too, the credit should also be more than $20 because
it was never going to be.
They have to know that $20 worth of my whatever I'm paying is not.
They're not going to give you half off.
It's like $60 of that whatever is dedicated to sports. So we should help us a little bit more.
They're not going to give you half off your YouTube TV
I know,
because of 5 channels or 4 channels.
I agree with both sides of the argument here of like you guys who say, just give me my $20 credit. I shouldn't have to jump through even an additional hoop. I 100% see that. I also see the people who are like, it's just an email. Or you just click the button and the $20 credit is yours. But it's clearly a design on their part.
Well, I know why they're doing it. That doesn't mean I have to be like, oh, yeah, no problem.
I mean, think about YouTube TV has an estimated 10 million subscribers, somewhere near that point. If even 10% of YouTube TV subscribers do not get that, don't click the button and get their credit back, that is $20 million back in the pocket of YouTube TV. If even 90% of people actually do take the $20 credit and 10% don't, That's $20 million that YouTube TV doesn't have to pay simply because people forget. And should people forget?
Oh, and there will be people that absolutely don't do this.
Yes, but sometimes you have lives and you forget things and you don't check your email every day.
So
and it gets buried. It happens.
So if you have YouTube TV, please make sure you go and get your credit. Don't lose out on your $20. And then Google and Disney, figure your bleep out, please, over the next.
I think it's still majority Disney to blame for this. They know exactly what they're doing.
I don't disagree with you.
Hey, go to Hulu and Fubo, which we also own. Go on ahead and go to those places because they're not having the problems. Works out very conveniently for Disney.
I think they're both. I don't know if we split up the pie chart, but they are both to blame. These are still two mega corporations that are screwing over the consumer. That's as simple as it is. That's how I see it. All right. Up next, guys, let's get to what's trending. Let's also talk a little bit more about the list that we tried to compile of Super Bowl contenders. And I don't know if we can include 9 teams, although one of us definitely had 8 or 9 of them. We'll get to that next.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's Creed Humphrey. You're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays 10 to 2 on your home for Chiefs football, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
This holiday season, make holiday travel a little brighter with Park & Go. All covered parking means your car stays safe from the snow and ice, so you can come home to comfort, not a scraper. Plus, Park & Go's friendly shuttle is ready and waiting the moment you park. No standing out in the cold. Fast and easy and open 24/7. Park & Go offers top-notch service at the lowest price. Once you try Park & Go, you'll never travel without it. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. From the Park & Go family to yours, happy holidays.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix in
any Chiefs game. Win or lose, I'll earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 35 points, I save 35 cents a gallon when I spend $35 on groceries. So the more we score, the more I save, only for my friends at Hy-Vee.
Hey, Zach, are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbors' attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching. Me too.
Yes, T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
BetMGM is coming soon to Missouri. On November 17th, sports fans in Missouri can pre-register and get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if their first bet loses. Plus, an additional $100 in bonus bets if they deposit before December 1st. Enjoy a betting app that was designed for game day with features like live bets, same-game parlays, BetMGM reward points, and surprise boosts dropping in your account all throughout the season. It's everything a sports fan could want in one app. Pre-registration is coming soon to Missouri on November 17th. BetMGM, make it legendary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements and minimum deposit of $10. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Pending BetMGM's licensure as a mobile sports wagering operator with the Missouri Gambling Commission register for a Missouri online sports wagering account 1117. BetMGM's insurance of welcome offer is conditional on full license.
Hey, football fans, tune in this week to kick off with Boomer and Valenti, where the guys break down the biggest headlines and storylines from across the NFL. Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti is brought to you by the Home Depot. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Available at the Home Depot. How pros get more done.
I'm Piera Palazzolo,
VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WEB-NOW-1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-922-1284. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284. 800-922-1284.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results vary. Consult with your tax professional prior to enrollment.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, and Oysters, located in Lenexa, North KC, Lawrence, Topeka, and Joplin.
Happy Veterans Day from all of us here at 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station. What's trending?
God dang!
Brought to you by Telly Tire and Auto Centers. Winning starts with a great drive. Since 1942, Telly's certified techs have delivered complete car care with top brand tires and expert auto service. Keep your drive going. Take it to Telly. Visit tellytire.com today.
Number one on what's trending, the AL and NL Rookie of the Year announced yesterday. No surprise on the AL side, Nick Kurtz of the A's, the Rookie of the Year. Drake Baldwin, someone said, hey, you guys were talking about Missouri State earlier. There you go, Drake Baldwin, catcher for the Braves, the National League Rookie of the Year. Noah Cameron finished fourth in AL Rookie of the Year voting. We will talk more about that and the value that Noah Cameron has to this organization and perhaps other organizations here in about 30 minutes or so.
Could be. Number two, the Royals did make a move for an outfielder. Is it one that's going to move the needle? Not likely. But the Royals did acquire Cam Meisner from the Tampa Bay Rays for a player to be named later or cash considerations. He is a career 200 hitter in around 80 major league games. The biggest, the best part of the story, I guess you could say, is that the Royals actually drafted him back in 2016 when he was a high school senior in Poplar Bluff, Missouri. He obviously declined that offer, went to Mizzou, where 4 years later he became a first-round pick of the Miami Marlins. So a Missouri kid who the Royals drafted a decade ago, coming back to the team. They put him on the 40-man roster. Is he going to end up being an everyday player? I highly doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah, it's organizational depth. Bring him into spring training out in Arizona, see what he looks like, see everybody else looks. Does he, is he going to be something that comes off the bench? Is he going to start in AAA or in play there? Yeah, it's a fine move, but it's nothing to freak out about either way, is what I would say. All right, elsewhere, number 3 on what's trending, McCole Hardman, former Chief, signing with the Buffalo Bills practice squad. The Steelers have also released former Chief Juan Thornhill. He is now headed to waivers. If he clears, he will be a free agent. So some movement with former Chiefs players. Look, McCole Hardman, you got to take the job wherever the job is. I know some Chiefs fans, I don't know why on Twitter, were like upset. I'm like, dude, this guy's got to earn a living still. Come on now. He's on the practice squad. Obviously, you hope that he doesn't help out the Bills too much. But there you go, McCole Hardman with Buffalo.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that McCole Hardman might be able to help the Bills with is if there was a playoff game in January, he'd just be in all the defensive meetings that week trying to give tidbits into the Chiefs offense. But that's I don't really see a lot of help from McCole Hardman outside of that. Number 4, how about the Dallas Mavericks? Roughly a year after they should have made this move, it appears they are going to fire general manager Nico Harrison. In fact, it has been made official. Less than a year after he made one of the most notorious deals in the history of sports, for that matter, trading Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. They had him hang around just long enough to draft Cooper Flagg and are now giving the man his walking papers.
The home environment, too, by the way, if you haven't watched a game yet this year when they're at home, it's really bad.
Volatile.
It's really bad. Like, I think they kind of had to make this move. Like, even if they wanted to wait, they had no choice. The game,
I just don't get it.
They were winning a game. They would be winning games. And the fans are still chanting "Fire Nico."
They were winning against the Bucks last. They were beating the Bucks last night, and during a timeout, a "Fire Nico" chant broke out in the arena.
To do it.
I just don't get it. The trade, obviously, but you allow him to then also make a draft pick. Not that it was confusing who they were going to draft, but you get my point. Like, you let him make the draft pick, you let him continue through the offseason, and now, about a month into the season, you fire him. So, like, it's not an issue with him being fired. It's just, why, I don't get why now.
I think it's because of the home court. They were more worried about chanting "Fire Nico" than they were rooting their own team.
But
which I think
they should have fired him in the offseason.
I agree with that, but I don't think they actually wanted to, and then they realized how bad the situation was, and it was like, okay, we need to make a move because they got to start cheering this team on instead of just chanting "Fire Nico."
I think they wanted to see if, like, the Cooper Flagg influx into the team would sort of alleviate some of those issues. Maybe it would bring some fans back. And it hasn't. They were still just as upset as they were at the end of last year following the trade. It hasn't gone away. The sentiment, they've got to get the fans back if you're the Dallas Mavericks.
Elsewhere on what's trending, Major League Baseball announced they have an agreement with multiple major sportsbook for a nationwide cap of $200 maximum on pitch-level market wagers. These micro bets, this all, of course, stems from Emmanuel Clase, Luis Ortiz, and the FBI investigation where they allegedly were intentionally throwing balls, tipping off people ahead of time, and that would go in bet pregame. There were text messages sent during games, phone calls during games as well. So basically, if you want to bet, hey, this first pitch from X pitcher is going to be a ball, you can do that, but they cannot be in parlays anymore, and you cannot bet more than $200 on those. So I think this is more about the optics than anything. Like, do I think this solves everything? Of course not, but I think it got to a point, and the same thing applies on the NBA side, if in fact the NBA does something like this with the sports books on limiting some of the unders. It's gotten so bad now where it's not just good enough for the sports books to just sit back and not do anything. There has to at least be the optics of them trying to work with the leagues to limit some of this. This does not alleviate all of it, as we've discussed. You can bet offshore still. People will. You can, if you're trying to get in a bet more than $200, people have syndicates that can make bets. Like, this is not solving everything, but I do think it's a step in the right direction and maybe appease some of the people that are very concerned, of course, about this.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like something that you can attack with one thing and that's going to solve all the problems. I'm not sure there's anything that you can do that's going to solve all the problems. People that are going to want to do this are going to continue to find ways to do these things. You can't rid yourself of it entirely, but steps in the right direction are just that, and you have to take them at face value and hope that for at least a few guys who may consider this in the future, it's going to stop them short of ultimately crossing that line.
If you missed our conversation with Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL Insider, earlier today, I encourage you to check it out on the podcast page. We asked him about the Emmanuel Clase investigation, betting around sports, what teams in the league and the Player Association tells players. I thought it was very interesting stuff from Vinnie, his perspective on what is going on in sports right now around the betting side of things.
Last one we've got for you, number 6. The Cleveland Browns said today that they are not going to be opening the 21-day practice window for Deshaun Watson. The ACL or the Achilles progress for him does continue, but head coach Kevin Stefanski doesn't seem super open to the idea, at least as of right now, opening it up. And why would you be? You're not going to make the playoffs. If you want him back at some point, which I'm not entirely sure would be the smartest idea, but you rope this horse with the guaranteed money. Wait for next year when at least you have on paper a chance to be competitive, because this year it's dead in the water.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon with you. Logan Weber filling in for Cody today and for a couple shows over the next week or so. At 1 o'clock today, Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider from ESPN, going to join us. We'll ask him what he's hearing on the Josh Simmons front. Does he expect him to play Sunday? Same with Isaiah Pacheco. We'll also talk more in depth about the Broncos in that matchup Sunday afternoon, which you can hear here on 96.5 The Fan. Before we get to all 32, the Super Bowl odds at this point, we can take a look at it and see if they correlate with our list that we made. But heading into Week 11 now, this all started with me wondering if the Ravens should be back in the Super Bowl contender conversation. They've won 3 in a row. They are still not in the playoffs. They're still not leading their division, but they are starting to get going. The Steelers look very vulnerable. It's a bad AFC North this year in terms of no team is out there running ahead. It looks like 10 wins will win you the North. 9 maybe, depending on if everything fell. But 10, I would say you feel very, very good about your chances to win the North. And so are the Ravens with a new MVP quarterback, with an experienced head coach, are they good enough to be a Super Bowl contender? So that's how it started. And then I tried to make my list of Super Bowl contenders. And initially I had like 8. I was like, I can't have 8 teams as Super Bowl contenders. Because I do think it is more open than it's been in a long time.
Agreed.
So that's why I was like, can it be 8? I just feel in general, if I ask you about Super Bowl contenders and I give you 9 or 8 or 9, it's like, well, dude, you're giving me a quarter of the league here. What are you doing? But at the same time, like, I think that is how open it is. So I tried to narrow it down a little bit. We don't have to run through our exact reasoning on a couple of these. I think some of them are obvious, but like I have the Chiefs still as a clear Super Bowl contender. I think you guys kind of know the reasons why that might be. The Rams, co-favorite Matthew Stafford for MVP. They're doing it in a very tough division. They're a wild card team, though, right now. Sean McVay is one of the best head coaches. Defensively, they're legit as well. I trust them. They also have these first 3 teams I'm going to tell you, have quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls. So Stafford, Mahomes with the Chiefs, Stafford with the Rams. The Eagles will still be one. They got the division basically locked up already. Jalen Hurts has won a ring, even if they're boring as heck to watch, man. They're so boring. I also went with the Packers. I know they lost last night. I still think there's enough talent there to get it done. I have the Bucks and I had the Bills. And I know you're saying, where are the Patriots and all? This is my dilemma was, all right, do I have 8 or 9 on my list? Because the Patriots who just beat the Bucks, you might say, well, how are the Bucks on there? It, to me, is still the fact that it's a second-year starting quarterback, a coach that we all respect, but it's his first year back. Their schedule has been soft. Their most impressive win might have been the one they just had, actually, against Tampa, and I'm concerned about their defense. So I think we're all going to have different lists, but if I have to narrow it down and I'm not allowed to pick 8 or 9, then that would be my list.
Yeah, I don't have the Colts or the Patriots on my list either. I've got the Chiefs, who you mentioned, the Bills. I've got the Eagles, the Rams, the Seahawks on my list, and my justification for that is that Sam Darnold has proven that last year wasn't a fluke, to me. At this point, they got a great running back duo with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. I think their defense is underrated league-wide. And right now, we talked about the Rams being a real contender in the NFC. Right now, they don't lead their own division. The Seattle Seahawks do. And then, the other team I've got is the Detroit Lions. Yeah, they had a really disappointing, embarrassing loss, I would say, to the Commanders in the divisional round last year. But I think that they might be the most talented team in the NFC. And when I look at the way Jared Goff has played this year with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams and Laporta and that backfield duo, this Lions defense is starting to get healthier, especially in the secondary. If they can be at full tilt on that side of the football when it comes playoff time, I like what the Lions can do in the NFC. And you talk about the Colts and the Patriots, I'm just not sure what you could see in a playoff setting. You know, guys that are having breakout years when they get into the playoffs for the first time, it doesn't always work very well. Look at what Sam Darnold did with a real letdown against the Lions in the last week of the regular season last year with the division on the line, and then that first round playoff game. What is it going to look like for Daniel Jones having the best year of his career with the struggles he's had over the last 2 weeks? And Drake May has never been here before. He's never been on a winning NFL team, let alone in a playoff game, regardless of whether you're at home or on the road. Winning a game in October is incredibly different than winning in January.
Drew, you had a few more teams than we did. And
yes, I did. If you want me to limit it down to 4, then I would say it's the Chiefs to me, the Colts, the Seahawks, and the Rams is who I would say comfortably would be my 4. I think for Drake May, and I understand why you would say what you're saying, Logan, with Drake May, and it's different winning in the playoffs. I get it. It just feels like this. It's not like it can't be done, and maybe Drake May's not this guy, but it feels like if you've got that juice, I think that can elevate teams, and we're gonna find out, I would say, this year if Drake May can be that guy where, let's say they do make the playoffs and they're a 3 seed, and let's say they win the division and they go to an AFC title game, forget even making it to the Super Bowl or anything, but if they make it to an AFC title game, then I think he's proven to some extent that he is that guy. And they just need to continue to build around him, and who knows what can happen in the future. But I get the premise of, he hasn't been there yet, so who knows. But I also think if he's that guy, we're going to find out this year. And I think the Patriots, if I had to pick a team that's after those 4, the Patriots might be in that mix along. I think they're better than the Bills to me. And it's not even a Josh Allen thing. It's more of I don't trust that they have a full unit, a full team that when it comes down to it, can win games when your defense has to get stops consistently. It doesn't feel like they're capable of being that team.
Yeah, so if I expanded mine out, I would take the Patriots as closer to being a contender than the Colts. You know my feeling there. I understand that. I don't trust Daniel Jones. Now you're saying, but I trust Drake May. That's to say that's why neither one is on my. Why neither one is on my list. But I would go with the Patriots over what the Colts are, in my opinion. I still believe Daniel Jones the last 2 weeks with 7 turnovers is my example. While they're 1-1 in those games, could have lost against Atlanta. They did not. That's my concern with the Colts. I think you're right. You said we'll get our answer later on this year, and it's true on Drake May. He's having an MVP type season. He's the co-favorite. I will, until proven otherwise, I will still go with guys I trust. Now, eventually, Drake May might end up, like this time next year, he might be someone like, I trust him. He won 2 playoff games or whatever it might be in his second year as a starter. But right now, and what you said about the Bills is correct. They are not a complete team. They are very much flawed, despite beating Kansas City. The Chiefs are a flawed football team as well. Josh Allen is coming off a terrible game, but I still trust Josh Allen more than Daniel Jones, even if the team around him is better. I know that sounds crazy, but I would still, in a head-to-head game, I guess that's how we could do this. Head-to-head, divisional round game in Indianapolis, Bills at Colts. How confident are you in taking the Colts in that game?
Not at all.
You raising your hand, you would take the Colts, but how confident are you?
60-40.
Okay.
I think they'd beat them.
Oof.
They would be the Colts would be slight favorites. I don't think they'd be big favorites at all. They'd be like 2.5-point favorites over the Bills, is what I'm saying. If the Chiefs were going to, how about if the Chiefs were going to Indy divisional round weekend?
I picked the Colts or the Chiefs.
Okay.
Probably. I would lean Chiefs and probably say 60-40 Chiefs actually in that one. Just because I think, it's coaching, it's the quarterback stuff, I think. It's also just the overall team and everything like that as well that collectively makes me think, regardless of who the Chiefs play, honestly, I probably am picking them to win the game regardless. It just feels like that. It makes sense. You would lean in that direction because of what we've seen historically. I know historically the Bills have been good, but it just feels different this season. Not that it feels like it's a passing of the torch essentially from division winner to a new one into Patriots, but it feels like collectively, from the coach to the team, to Drake May already beating and outplaying Josh Allen in that game that they had already. To me, it feels like this team in Buffalo is not good enough to get the job done, and it's a collection of everything.
But I also saw, while we could argue the Chiefs didn't play well against Buffalo, I give the Bills a ton of credit that game. To me, that was their A game, right? The joke is, of course, it was the Bills' Super Bowl. When the Bills are, I did just see, though, the Bills at their best, and they are still capable of beating anybody, in my opinion. But they have to play their best, right? The Chiefs got in the first half in particular against Buffalo. That was the A+ game for the Buffalo Bills, and so it's still there. And so I would still trust Josh Allen and the Bills when it matters most in the biggest moment over a quarterback that, for the exception of 9 weeks this NFL season, has really never played at this level. Talk about Daniel Jones. Drake May, kind of the same thing. I think long term, we all are saying, I think agreeing that Drake May is going to be part of this conversation. I just don't know if he's there yet. That's why earlier we were mentioning, now it was the second year as a starter for Patrick Mahomes when he won the Super Bowl, but his second year in the league, his first year as a starter, he hosted an AFC title game and lost to Tom Brady. So the Patriots, maybe they're hosting an AFC title game. How confident are you not, taking Patrick Mahomes on the road in that game against Drake May, if that's what it comes to?
I feel like, part of this might be the fact that the relation to my Bengals fandom and the fact that Joe Burrow, he had a rookie season, tore his ACL, PCL, everything. The next year, he went on the road and beat everybody to get to the Super Bowl in his second year. It felt like that to me is, not that Drake May is on that same trajectory, but it feels like the team might be in terms
that
of
offense is not, as you would admit.
In terms of how we view these two teams, though, or those two teams, it feels like collectively the Patriots are a better team than that one that Joe Burrow took to go to the Super Bowl. Is why can't Drake May also get to that level where I think just collectively...
he certainly could. I would just say, and you would agree with this, you're the Bengals guy, as much as Drake May looks awesome, and he does, the Bengals offense that year was way better than what the Patriots skill, it's not even close to the weapons. Joe Burrow did it, but to get to where he had, they had a ridiculous amount of weapons to where Drake May is still, his number one receiver is who? Booty?
Yes, but in fairness, Joe Burrow also got sacked 90 times or 70 times.
I get that, but he was throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
And Drake May's been sacked a ton. I think he's the second most sacked quarterback in football this year.
So I think, again, from a collection standpoint, it feels like the two teams are very similar, and maybe that's why I'm buying into the Patriots and Drake May more than I am Josh Allen, but I think that's part of it for sure.
All right, let's get to it.
All 32. Duh. I had a blank moment in my mind, but I was like, oh, what are we going to do?
There we go. There it is. Let's go.
Come on, Drew, wake
up. We were talking about Cincinnati. We got you fired up, and then, all right. For me, on all 32, I want to talk about coaching in for a second and what I think is about to happen. So we know that Dable was let go by the Giants. There's the track record that he had with Josh Allen, which was very good in Buffalo. This feels like Bills offensive coordinator currently, Joe Brady, goes and becomes a head coach in college or maybe even the NFL, but I think college is in play again. Maybe even Penn State, Drew. Then Dable goes back to Buffalo and reunites with Josh Allen. Doesn't that feel like the obvious track here? That Dable, who basically got a head coaching gig with the Giants because of how good he was with Josh Allen. In Kansas City as an OC, he stunk. Okay, he's terrible. But he was very good with Allen. He becomes a head coach, had one good year with Daniel Jones. We all know how it's been since. I feel like Dable very likely is the OC in Buffalo next year.
I could definitely, if Joe Brady does leave, which I believe he will, I mean, his stock is maybe never going to be higher than it is right now. And with the amount of NFL openings that there are going to be by the time this season is done, at least in my view, it all makes sense on paper, and it's become a lot more of a trend in the National Football League for guys to go back where they were previously. I mean, I think the only thing that could possibly prevent that is, one, Joe Brady doesn't leave Buffalo, which I think is unlikely, or number two, the Bills struggle down the stretch and maybe fail to get where they ultimately want to go again, and they make a change at the top. And Sean McDermott is let go as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. All right, mine that I've got for all 22 is, you've mentioned Matthew Stafford's name a couple times.
Yeah.
I think he's the NFL MVP. I mean, 4 touchdown passes and no picks in 3 consecutive games. That's never been done before in the history of the league. 25 touchdown passes this season, 2 interceptions. He's top 5 in passing yards. He's in the top 10 among qualified quarterbacks in completion percentage. This is a guy who's never even been an all-pro in his career. I think it would be very befitting of a guy who belongs in the NFL Hall of Fame to finally get that moniker next to him when you see guys that have had lackluster years in comparison to years past with Lamar and Josh Allen and even Patrick Mahomes kind of taking steps back a little bit. This feels like the kind of year for Matthew Stafford, the way he's playing with the Rams. I think he's the MVP.
If he stays healthy, I think there's a really good chance he wins it. We're going to talk about this more tomorrow. The door is not shut on Josh Allen or Mahomes still winning this thing, by the way. Like, I understand right now they are not in the driver's seat, but it is not closed on either of those two guys. There's way too much football left.
Yep.
Big-time games left for both these teams. But both are going to have to win their division, as we know that. If you want to win MVP, you have to win your division. And that also applies to that not only push back on Stafford. Like, they have to win the division over Seattle, and right now Seattle is ahead. All right.
It is interesting, too, because, I mean, if Stafford gets ring number 2, where does he jump to the all-time quarterback stuff? Because statistically, he's that dude, obviously going all the way back to his time in Detroit. I mean, does he jump, like, in terms of the all-time greats? Is he better than Terry Bradshaw? Is he better than, I mean, I know that he has a lot of rings, but he might even already be a better talent anyways. But I think that's a fun little conversation. Mile 32 is that NFL teams should avoid hiring the college coach. Sark's name has kind of been out there. He was asked about it a few weeks ago. I think he would be a terrible choice to be an NFL head coach. Not that I don't like Sark or anything like that, but it feels like college to NFL, it's a different game. I don't know how much NFL experience Sark even has to begin with. You're dealing with it doesn't feel like a fit to me where it feels like college football makes some sense. Lane Kiffin, a couple of people have mentioned, well, the Giants job because of Jackson Dart.
Lane Kiffin, I would agree. In the NFL, Lane Kiffin, no.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Lane Kiffin works in the. It just feels like to me, not that the games are so far apart as the main reason, but I feel like it's certain. I don't know if there's any NFL coach right now that you could name that I would feel confident in taking an NFL job in more than anybody else who you would
any college
potentially
coach
bring in. Yeah, I mean, like if Kalen DeBoer, that doesn't fit to me. I don't think that works. I don't know if Sark works. I don't know if there's anybody else who you even could come up with. Dan Lanning.
Dan Lanning is the only guy I thought of.
But I don't think is Dan Lanning.
It doesn't feel like it to me.
It doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
He's definitely more of a player's coach, which is difficult to navigate in the National Football League.
He's at Oregon.
When you go from,
like there's no reason for him to leave anyways. But
yeah, he followed the trajectory of Chip Kelly. We all saw how that panned out going from Oregon to the NFL.
Another good example. Saban's the only one where it worked to a set.
Wow.
You know, and honestly, it was working until he didn't get Drew Brees, and then he was like, "Yeah, screw this, I'm out."
Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, and
Harbaugh is another
sort
one,
of Nick Saban are the only ones that really have had success.
All right, that is all 32. Up next, let's talk more about Noah Cameron finishing 4th in Rookie of the Year and the value he has across baseball. I'll explain next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here, for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a little more.
I'm worth a lot more.
I completely agree. You are worth more, and your car's worth more, and we want to pay more at GiveMeTheVin.com for good cars, because they are worth more, and so are you. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100. For top price, trust, and ease of transaction, GiveMeTheVin.com, America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Hey,
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Also that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This holiday season, Target has your back with irresistibly cool gifts for everyone on your list. For the trendsetter, start with affordable beauty kits and gift sets. Need something the whole fam will love? Grab snuggly matching fits in every size and style. And for the thrill seekers, don't forget the hottest toys and tech of the season. Target's got you covered with the best deals for endless fun. Shop in store or online. And step into the holidays with Target. Restrictions apply.
Not available in all states. Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a mere fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-474-1811. 800-474-1811. That's 800-474-1811.
Oh, hey, welcome to gift wrapping. Whoa, Zoe Saldana.
Hey, can you wrap these, please?
Wow, iPhone 17s. You splurged.
At T-Mobile, you can get 4 iPhone 17s on them. It's the perfect gift for everyone.
I'm the worst. I only got my mom a robe.
Well, it's better than socks.
So I have to trade in my old phone, right?
No, at T-Mobile, there's no trade-ins needed when you switch. Keep your old phone or give it as a gift.
Incredible.
In fact, wrap up my old phone too. For my Aunt Rosa. Forget that. Aunt Liz will be jealous.
Sounds like my family. Drama.
Oh, I got it. I'll give it to my abuela. I'll take reindeer paper with, hey, where are you going?
To T-Mobile. Thanks, Zoe.
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Get 4 iPhone 17s on us, no trade-in needed when you switch. Plus 4 lines for just $25 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 4 eligible port-ins on essentials for well-qualified customers. Auto pay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end in balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 256 gigabytes, $830 required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick six, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
These nerd gummy cluster things, my goodness, so addicting. I bought a bag during the break. I don't know how many I already ate during the break.
They're dangerous.
They're amazing.
Because they're just
addicting.
They're small. They're so you forget about it. You think you didn't eat much of anything, and you realize you've consumed the entire bag in one sitting.
It claims there's 5 servings in each one of these, and a serving is 16 pieces. I think I had a serving during the break. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I've had a serving. I'm pretty sure I've had all 5 servings in about 25 minutes before.
Yeah, those things are addicting. I need a little sugar rush during the show. That's all. Nate Taylor expected to join us at 1:00 today, as he does each and every Tuesday. So we hope to have Nate from ESPN hop on the show, talk a little bit about not only Chiefs Broncos, but where things are at after Andy Reid's presser yesterday, heading into tomorrow, and practice, and Josh Simmons and Isaiah Pacheco, and if he agrees with us on Xavier Worthy and his production at this point and what they might try to do moving forward. Before we get to the random question of the day, Drew has one for us today. He did not tell us. He said you'll have to find out, which is always a little bit nerve-wracking, but we'll learn together here in just a little bit. I want to talk about Noah Cameron. So Noah Cameron, hey, he's fourth in Rookie of the Year voting. Congratulations to him. Awesome season. Best American League rookie pitcher in baseball, I would argue, too, not just the American League. But the conversation around him, I think, for the next couple months should be the value that he brings not only to you, the Royals, as an organization with all the control and the great year he had, great story out of nowhere, but the value he has in bringing you something that you desperately need after last season. That, of course, is outfield bat, a legit MLB bat. And maybe you have to package Cameron and Blake Mitchell. And I know that scares people off a little bit, but he has the most value of anybody on your pitching staff. He just does. Cole Reagans, who looked really good in his final 3 outings after the injury, one, I don't think the Royals want to move him, but also he, to me, is not going to bring you back as much as you would think. Chris Bubich is hurt, hasn't pitched in a while, not going to see him pitch until spring training. Burgert, I don't think you're going to get enough back, but he does have multiple years of control, which is intriguing. You have Seth Lugo, who we all know, if you were going to trade him, you would have traded him at the deadline. Michael Wacha, great pitcher. You're just not going to get much back on the trade market. It's weird. Like, they have a very, very strong rotation, yet to me, Noah Cameron's the only one that would possibly, in a package deal, bring me back something that I need, and that is a legit outfielder to help solve this outfield problem. So I know everybody freaks out when you talk about trading anybody that's good. You have to give up good pieces to get good pieces back, and I don't believe they're going to be in the waters of spending $100+ million on a free agent outfielder. Look, I would love Kyle Schwarber. Hell yeah, I would. I don't think they're getting Kyle Schwarber. They're not getting Kyle Tucker. They're not, you know what I mean? They're Cody Bellinger. Like, if it's not my money, sure, I'll spend $200 million to make it happen, but I don't believe the Royals are going to do that. They have not shown through free agency ever they're going to do that. It's one thing when, for the first time ever, they handed out the money they did to Bobby Wood Jr., right? Great deal, by the way.
Yeah.
But in free agency, not a homegrown player, they don't do that. And so the only way I see them really improving the outfield is via trade, and their best asset is Noah Cameron and Blake Mitchell, I guess, if you want to package them.
As much as I would love to disagree with you, because I like Noah Cameron, I can't. I believe that you are right, because it's sort of this chicken and the egg type of scenario where the things that you love about Noah Cameron and the things that would allow for the Royals to keep him around is also the thing that increases his trade value exponentially. Coming off of a great rookie year, he's got 5 more years. He hasn't even hit 1 year of MLB service time yet. He's got so much team control left under him as a cheap, reliable front end, I shouldn't say front end, but middle to back end of your rotation. That is a phenomenal piece for anybody. Cole Reagans has been banged up. As good as he's been at times, he's got the injury history, which lowers his trade value. Same thing with Chris Bubich. You've got the age restrictions with guys like Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, plus the big extensions that you gave those 2 guys. And Burgert and Kolek just haven't proven it enough to this point. So he's the one that makes the most sense. And if you're the Royals, you know how close you are right now with the guys that you have already on this roster, with how well Vinnie played last year. You've got Salvi for 2 more years. You've got a top 5 player in baseball in Bobby Witt Jr. Maikel Garcia's coming off of a career year. Kyle Isbell is this team's center fielder. Cags is going to be in right. We know, after hearing J.J. Piccolo, at the end of the season, saying they want Jonathan India to be the everyday second baseman. Left field is where the improvement has to be made. And You can't go after a guy who was a top prospect at left field and try to make it work. You need a guy to try to take that next step as a team to become a true contender in the American League. It has to be a proven bat at the major league level. And there's only a handful of those guys that you can legitimately go out and get. And in order to do that, it likely means giving up a pitcher the caliber of somebody like a Noah Cameron. Noah Cameron, Blake Mitchell, package them together, send them to Boston for Jarren Duran.
Well, I would like that. I would certainly be interested in that. From the text line, 913-586-7965, someone says, hey, we finally get a homegrown young pitcher under control. Everyone wants to trade him, keep all the old guys with injury history. So I understand the sentiment. What I would push back on would be, I actually now feel like the Royals as an organization have shown me that they can not only develop pitching, they can evaluate it at a big league level and make smart transactions, right? Cole Reagans was acquired in the Chapman trade. The Berger trade looks to be pretty decent at this point in time as well. They've done a nice job at finding big league talent at other teams that are undervalued, I guess, by those organizations, and turning them into very impressive pitchers. Sometimes it's a quick tweak, whatever it may be. Brian Sweeney is one of the best in the game. I'm glad to hear that he's not going anywhere this offseason. So that's why I'm more willing than ever to part ways with young starting pitching, because I believe they have shown now that they can potentially develop it, but also find it, evaluate it at the big league level, versus clearly there's been an issue still at finding that outfield hitting talent to this point. Now, look, this all gets a lot simpler if Jack Caglione turns out to be who they think he can be a year ago when they drafted him, or over a year ago now. You get the point. So that solves all of that. But I get the worry of like, oh, you trade this guy, then what happens? Look, they have a ton of depth, and you say last year they had a bunch of injuries. Going into the season, though, I don't want some of these names, though, to start in AAA, and they're not even pitching for you for much of the year, and you didn't solve your outfield. Like, we all agree, every single person I'm sure listening agrees that the outfield was their biggest problem last year, and we all think they need to address it, right? I just am not convinced that they're going to be able to effectively address that in free agency. So the only path I see is trade, and therefore you have to give up something to get something that you're going to actually think can help you. And I'm telling you that I don't think Chris Bubic gets you what you need. I don't think anybody else on the pitching staff, including Cole Reagans, gets you what you need. So therefore, Noah Cameron is, I guess, the casualty in all of this, if you will. But the reason why he has all the value is because he has all the control. So we'll see how it plays out. I just want to see someone put together a plan that doesn't involve trading Noah Cameron, that gets me an outfielder that you guys are excited about, that's starting in left field or wherever for you next year.
Yeah, and we're sitting here talking about the hypotheticals of other pitchers on the Royals getting hurt if you trade Noah Cameron. Let's talk about the hypothetical if you keep Noah Cameron and he gets hurt. This is a guy who was on pitch limits. This is a guy who was given specific rest and missed starts throughout the course of the year because there were concerns about his own health. So this isn't a guarantee one way or the other. This is what you do in the realm of sports. Sometimes you have to take chances. And with somebody like Noah Cameron, as much team control as he has, and you'd love to keep him around, that's also why MLB teams would like to trade for him and why his value is higher than those guys with injury concerns. It's not that, I'm sure the Royals would love to try to trade maybe Chris Bubic and Blake Mitchell to get Jarren Duran. But the value of Chris Bubic isn't where it is with Noah Cameron right now because there's too many injury concerns over the course of his career to justify it.
And just because the Brady Singer-Jonathan India trade did not turn out the way you would have liked it to turn out with Jonathan India, does not mean like you should be fearful of them ever making another trade involving big league talent already. That's all I'm saying. Like, and I wish, look, I hope Noah Cameron has a great career, right? He was awesome last year. There's part of me that, is not even to the injury stuff, Logan. Like, I would still just be concerned. Like, the numbers he put up last year, there's a good chance, and they were great numbers, that he never does that again. And by the way, I don't even need him to do that again exactly, if we're being fair. Otherwise, he's going to be competing for Cy Young for multiple years, and I don't think anybody believes that's actually going to happen. But it's not even so much that I think he's just going to regress, although he might. It is more like, hey, he is super valuable to every other team in baseball as well. Let me go get something to address the main issue this team had a year ago. Otherwise, you guys know my biggest fear heading into this upcoming season is that they're essentially going to run it all back and hope that two new hitting coaches and guys that were regressing last year, just regress back to the mean in a good way. And everybody else that had great years, Michael Garcia, are all just going to be that next year or this year. Like, I'm not saying that Michael's falling off a cliff. He was awesome. But expecting him to do that exact same thing again, that's a very optimistic way to approach it. When you're also going to tell me that guys that didn't have great years are all going to just have better years. Like that's a very optimistic way and a risky way to head in to 2026. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're asking a lot of the top half of this lineup that played so well a year ago, and it still wasn't enough. And you're expecting them to put together exact replicas of what they did a year ago. I as much as I love Vinnie and as great a year as he had, I don't expect Vinnie Pasquantino to be a 30 home run, 100 RBI guy for the next half decade. I don't expect Michael Garcia to hit 300 every year. You need additional help to try to alleviate some of the issues in the lower part of that organization. And we're talking about Noah Cameron, this hotshot prospect who just came in.
But here's the thing. He wasn't a hotshot prospect. Like, he was, like, with all due respect to him, look, it doesn't matter anymore. He's now in the big leagues pitching. It doesn't matter what his prospect ranking was now, technically. But this was not some guy that was a highly touted prospect. I don't believe he was in the top 100 prospect list until he made a few starts.
Correct.
Or whatever it was.
Meanwhile, you've got Ben Cadorna sitting down there just biding his time, a guy who could possibly see his MLB debut next year as a guy that you could look at as depth to justify trading away Noah Cameron on top of the tons of MLB arms you already have.
This will be the conversation the rest of the offseason. Like, this will not be the last time we talk about Noah Cameron or any other pitcher potentially getting traded. This is, to me, like one of the biggest questions over the next month and a half, 2 months. Like, are they willing? Is there an offer that makes sense out there to move on from one of these pitchers to go acquire an outfielder? And all I'm saying is I think Noah Cameron presents the most. I'll push back on one text, and then we'll get to random question of the day from the 816. From the 816, teams that win don't sacrifice, they acquire. I disagree with that. There's the Blue Jays didn't give up young talent before last season. I with all due respect, I just disagree with the comp. The Blue Jays had the 5th highest payroll in baseball last year. So you're right. The Blue Jays did not have to go trade. You're exactly right. The Blue Jays did not have to give up young talent to get to where they were because they had the 5th largest payroll in baseball. You're right. The Royals do not have to trade Noah Cameron. If you can tell me that John Sherman and the Royals are going to be in the waters for Kyle Tucker, for Cody Bellinger, for Kyle Schwarber, if you think they're going to sign the largest contract in free agent history for this club, then you're right. And I would love to be wrong that they're going to do that. I'll give it like a 5% chance that any of those names that I mentioned are in Kansas City in April.
I think, and I don't remember if it was JJ when we had him on or if it was Vinnie last week too when you were out, Cole. But I think it was Vinnie that said, John Sherman is one of the best owners in sports in terms of being aggressive. Like, I think he wants to win, and I think that obviously having an owner that wants to win and is willing to make some moves. It feels like, based on what JJ has said as well, that we're going to see a move. We're going to see we're going to see them run to try to get somebody. It's just, again, do the numbers match up correctly and all the other things that come along, of course, with signing somebody.
Random question.
Random question of the day brought to you by Kansas City Urology Care at KCUC. Remember, you see the best in KC. Visit KCUrology.com today. All right.
For you, Gold. For you, Logan. Also, the text line, 913-586-7965. Let's get deep. I think we should have a deeper question here.
Okay.
All right. Would you rather? I feel like this is a really, really interesting one. This is a good old would you rather brought to you by ChatGPT.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Hang on.
AI is asking the questions now.
AI is technically asking the questions, courtesy of them. Would you rather lose all your memories or never be able to make new ones? I feel like this is a very difficult question. And I saw this one that popped out a bunch of them. And I feel like this is very difficult because if you lose all your memories, you technically, you don't know who you are. Like, at this point, your memories make who you are, but also never being able to make new ones, you're just reliving the past over and over and over again. It feels like this is a difficult one.
This is an interesting question. I think on the surface, my answer is I would rather not be able to create new ones. I would argue you don't know what you don't have. Like, does that make sense? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, for me, it's easy. On the surface, I would answer I would not want to lose the memories I already have because I know what those are. losing future memory. I don't know what that, like, does that make sense? Like, I don't know what it is.
You're not able to make new ones. So you're just reliving a loop essentially in your
when
memories.
you're saying, but memories,
straight
like
up 51st dating it, huh?
memories, sure, but I'm still able, like, on a day, like,
Yeah, sure.
I'm still on a daily basis, still able to do new things. It's not like I have to do, this is not where I have to do the same thing every day. I may not remember the great experience I have a week from now.
Yeah,
which is weird, but also, like, I don't know that experience. So I would rather have that happen than lose memories
that you had
of your
at this
childhood
point.
and other things, right?
Yeah, I'm
That's
leaning
where I'm at on this
I'm
one.
leaning in that same
my
direction.
God, dude, I keep going back and forth. Like, I definitely lean towards keep the memories that I already have, but I also see, like, on the other side of it, right? Like, Drew, we're married. Like, my wife and I are having constant conversations about children. So you're telling me that if I choose to keep the memories I have right now, I will have I will not be able to make and keep a memory with my future children or my future grandchildren. I won't be able to see my sister get married or my brother get married, my niece and nephew. Like, those things.
What about memories you have with your parents?
But that's that's the flip side of it. It's like talking about how, I'll be able to remember memories with my kids, but, like, I won't remember how I met my wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, those sorts of things are.
Someone said Drew would rather have new memories, not past, because he doesn't have any memories of Bengals Super Bowl wins anyway.
Valid. Like,
that's very
I
true.
forget about the Royals World Series and the Chiefs 3 Super Bowls.
In fairness, the Bengals might not win one in the future either, so it's the same feeling over again. So, but I think you bring up a good point, because to the standpoint of, it's almost like waking up tomorrow and you don't remember anything, and your wife's like, "Hey, how are you?" And it's like, sorry, but who are you exactly? And at that point, it's like you're recreating, you're learning who your wife is, your parents, your brother and sister. But once you gather, okay, yeah, I know who they are, then maybe you can formulate new memories, formulate older quote unquote memories based on the conversations you have with your family members. So I think that
this conversation is one. You earlier in the show, Drew asked the 5 NFL coaches we want to hang out with, and Drew said right away Mike McDaniel. This question is right up Mike McDaniel's alley. You guys can sit around, you guys can hang out a little bit and talk this one out for hours, I think.
You're saying Mike McDaniel would Mike McDaniel would light up some tree to this. That's what you're saying.
Damn you, Chat GPT.
I don't think
that's honestly bummed me out a little bit.
I think that's
well, it's not happening. You don't need to be bummed out. It's not happening.
It's a fun hypothetical question. Someone said keep a diary or record everything. Yeah, that's a way to do it going
Someone
forward.
Says, all right.
Full-blown Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, just 51st dates for the rest of eternity here? Is that what we're doing? You got to put the VHS tape in every day?
People are saying, it depends how old you are with this question. Some people said they're already losing some of their memories anyway.
Yeah, at 27 years old, I feel like I have a lot more of my life yet to live than what I've already lived at this point. But the foundation, like forgetting the foundational moments
of your life,
my
essentially,
life,
yes.
Is God.
913-586-7965. Someone said from the 785, Drew saying today's question is more intellectual. As again, Cody's questions catching strays.
I didn't mean
Drew,
that.
you're thinking a little too hard on this one. Someone else says, all right, Drew, Chat GPT, a new question. Give us a new question. Give us another one.
Would you rather travel the world for free or have $500,000 to spend however you want? That's a dumb question.
$500,000 to spend however I want.
That's a terrible question.
You're telling me I can pay off my mortgage and my student loans and have cash left over? Are you kidding?
This is $500,000 now 100%. To use for whatever.
How about this one? Would you rather have to hop everywhere or crawl everywhere? I feel like hop is the answer, but
hop.
I mean,
without question.
I literally
who would crawl?
Like, how are you going to get upstairs?
Would you rather
crawl up the stairs?
Hopping's the answer.
ChatGPT has a mind of its own. Would you rather have spaghetti for hair or sweat mayo?
Well, say it again.
Would you rather have spaghetti for hair or sweat mayo?
Spaghetti for hair.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Spaghetti for hair.
I'm the biggest mayonnaise hater you're ever going to find in your life.
Disgusting. Let alone sweating it out.
Would you rather sweat maple syrup or sneeze glitter? Sneezing glitter would actually be pretty lit, if you want to be honest. Like, that'd be pretty sick.
Wait, what?
That would be pretty dope.
I'd rather sneeze glitter, honestly.
Same, but okay.
If you, okay, hang on a second. Let's see. Everybody in the company, we have this little area out here where there's like a little balcony to look over. If everybody's down hanging out and I'm up top and I sneeze,
there's glitter everywhere, though. What a mess.
But everybody would say, bless you. But
and what was the other one? Sweat syrup?
Yeah, sweat maple syrup.
Oh, well, that's just a mess. Like, you're me a sticky and no, that's a mess. Honestly, think about that. The clothes would stick to your body.
Shout out to ChatGPT for some random, it fits random question. A good old would you rather.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And I'm not, look, this is not shade because Cody is genuinely thinking of these. I said, hey, can you come up with some of these for me?
ChatGPT.
Yeah. Can you come up with some of these
tomorrow,
for me?
Bink's in. We'll maybe let Bink.
Should we go to ChatGPT tomorrow?
Yes, actually. Well, Thursday's Professor Bink because Tap's out. So Thursday is another lesson.
Mercy. Okay.
Yeah. It's either that or we save that for Logan. It can be Professor Weber.
Let's go.
You're a substitute teacher.
I am a substitute
and then we
teacher.
can do Snitchline Thursday instead.
Hang on. So Miss Dugan would not consider Logan a real teacher then? I would presume.
Yeah, because he's a sub.
A sub,
I think. Yeah.
I don't consider myself a real teacher either.
Oh, even more? Okay.
I'm a glorified babysitter.
Maybe on Friday when you're back, we'll talk more about your subbing. I want to find out what
Do professors count in your mind, Logan?
Do what?
Do adjunct professors count?
Yeah,
as
adjunct
teachers?
professor is a teacher. Yes.
That's the random question.
Absolutely.
Someone says, would you have to shove pancakes in your armpits to stop the syrup? All right, up next, we got to move around Nate Taylor. He's unfortunately not going to join us today. We'll have to hopefully have him back next week or later this week on the show. I want to talk about something that Major League Baseball announced this past, 18 hours or so, and it could impact baseball and how you really take in the sport moving forward. Plus, we'll also get back into some of the things Andy Reid had to say yesterday.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Around here, we've got each other's backs. When it comes to health insurance, we want that same kind of support. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City gets that. They're from around here too. Backed by the national strength of the Cross and Shield, they help you make confident choices, no matter where you are. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. From here, for wherever you are. That's the benefit of blue.
Is your garage door too loud and whining for help? Overhead Door Company of Kansas City will make it all better. They will perform their full 26-task garage door tune-up for just $79. That's just $79 for up to 3 garage doors and openers. You need this done once a year, so why not now? And for just $79. Call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City at 816-221-0072 or schedule online at overheaddoorkc.com.
Ready for action, basketball fans? BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA, is giving players another reason to hit the court this season. BetMGM is adding extra excitement to every basket, every slam dunk, and every buzzer-beating shot with special promotions, new features, and more. Log in throughout the season to find odds boost tokens, no sweat tokens, and same-game parlay boost tokens in your account to amplify your winnings. Enjoy enhanced product features like Dark Mode 2. Log into BetMGM, an authorized gaming partner of the NBA, all throughout the basketball season to see what's new. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Looking to drive your finances downfield? Main Street Credit Union is the hometown team you can trust. We help you build credit, lower monthly expenses, and finance with confidence. Or if you need a loan to grow your small business, we've got flexible options and no hidden fees. At Main Street, it's not just about the win, it's about keeping Kansas City moving forward. One goal, 1 yard, 1 member at a time. Get in the game at mainstreetcu.org.
This is Danon Hughes. In Kansas City football, we honor tradition, but we always look forward to what's next. That's why I'm all in for Flight by Yuengling. It's brewed by the oldest brewery in America, but built for today. 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, crisp, clean, and full of flavor, just the way a light beer should be. It's got the legacy and the stats to back it up. Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer and the official beer of Danon Hughes. B.G. Yingling and Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
Does this sound like you? Every step of reach is a reminder of what hurts, a reminder of what you can't do. But I've got good news for you. Relief is closer than you think, and it doesn't have to come from a scalpel. What if it could come from you? At QC Kinetics, we tap into your body's own regenerative power using natural healing factors that help restore and repair damaged tissue, reduce inflammation, and relieve the pain at its source. No surgery, no pain pills, no long recovery. Just your body remembering how to feel alive again. And this Veterans Day, QC Kinetics is giving back to our heroes. Veterans will get $500 off their treatment, and for every non-veteran who starts care, QC Kinetics will donate $500 to the Wounded Warrior Project. So now's the perfect time to book your free consultation with Saturday appointments to fit your schedule. Call QC Kinetics today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. Off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone, QC Kinetics.
You think you understand how this business works, but you don't.
Landman, TV's biggest phenomenon, returns to Paramount Plus. From Taylor Sheridan, co-creator of Yellowstone, starring Billy Bob Thornton.
You have to know the rules of the game and bend them, and you really have to know them to break them.
Demi Moore.
I want success. Get it for me.
Andy Garcia, Ali Larder, and Sam Elliott.
You don't even know the game you're playing, do you?
Landman, new season, streaming November 16th, only on Paramount Plus.
Hey, it's Brian Balding here. At the Home Depot, Makita tools are built for the pros who show up early, who don't do shortcuts, only precise cuts, who know the job's only done when it's done right. With tools built to last, job after job, year after year, performance that pays off. When the job calls for the best, call on Makita. Built to be the best, available at the Home Depot. How pros get more done.
Not available in all states. Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a mere fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-474-1811. 800-474-1811. That's 8
Gold. Drew Nixon with you, Logan Weber. He is filling in for Cody today and a couple other shows leading into next Wednesday. Vinnie Pasquantino, our VFL insider, joined us earlier today. If you missed that conversation, we'll bring that back to you around 1:35. Not only did we talk some NFL with him, I thought he had some really interesting answers and perspective from a player's point of view on the gambling scandals that have been happening in sports. Obviously, the Guardians with Emmanuel Clase on the baseball end. And so we spent some time talking to him about that towards the end of the interview. I just thought it was good perspective on like how they're seeing it. How often does it get brought up? Is it something that they notice? All this kind of stuff. So I thought Vinny was really good on that earlier today. We'll bring that back to you at 1:30. Hope to have Nate on either next week or later this week. Just had to move around scheduling and timing of some things. So no Nate Taylor today. Tomorrow we're going to hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And so that's when we'll get a little more update and insight on Josh Simmons, on Isaiah Pacheco's status heading into the Denver Broncos game on Sunday, 3:25 right here on 96.5 The Fan. Before we get into baseball and thinking of sports betting, something that the league just announced in the last 24 hours or so, last night, Tush-Push Bowl essentially is what we had. It was the Packers who wanted to ban the Tush-Push, going up against the Eagles, who, of course, have been the kings of the Tush-Push. And I think... One, it was a boring game last night. It was worse than the Thursday night game last week with the Raiders and Broncos.
Awful.
Right?
It was awful.
It was way worse. And starting with the tush push, and then we can get into the two teams, and it kind of carries over our Super Bowl contender conversation. But last night, yet again, there was a tush push from the Packers initially where they clearly false started. They didn't call it. Then the Eagles, I don't know, the whole left side of the line moved early like we've seen early. They didn't call it. Then later in the game, the third time, after they blatantly missed it twice on the field, the refs did, then they called the Packers, of course, for a false start. Meanwhile, Sirianni was complaining about it, which was just, rich as heck, that the head coach of the team that gets away with the false starts more than anybody was doing it. Yet again, we have seen the officials on the field are unable to officiate QB sneak / tush push, and they cannot evaluate the false starts whatsoever. It's mind-boggling, and as we say every time this becomes a story again, a couple more months of it, just a couple more months, and then this thing is done in March.
Oh, it's dead.
It is completely dead. Now, the folks in Philly, I was listening to some of their radio show earlier today, and they're under the impression that the league is now intentionally not calling it to make it so blatant that it does get banned. Look, I think it is getting so blatant that it will get banned. I don't know if the league is intentionally not calling it. That doesn't make sense to me. That's full-blown conspiracy. But I would agree with the notion that because it's gotten so absurd and they can't call it, that it is toast in March.
Yeah, the only other way that I could see the tush-push surviving this league, surviving in this league, I should say, is for there to be some sort of retroactive review following a tush push, because it is so impossible for them to officiate. I mean, depending on where your angle is, if you're down the line, it's hard for you to see the guards moving. If you're behind the line of scrimmage, right, you're where the white hat is necessarily, you might see the guards moving, but you can't see the football, so you've got no idea if they're moving earlier. It just depending on your position on the field, you alone cannot officiate how that play is conducted. So if you are allowing it to be reviewed retroactively following a play, then you could allow the play to continue and it can be properly officiated after the play is over. But then everybody's going to beep and moan about reviewing a play like this in the National Football League. And so I feel like the easiest way to go about it is to get rid of it. The NFL, like every other professional sport, is an entertainment business. They've changed the rules behind the kickoff because kickoffs became so boring in the National Football League. They had to do something to change it because it is about the entertainment value of the product. The tush push is more boring than kickoffs were 3 years ago at this point. It is just completely egregious. The best course of action is to ban it, but I could see them trying to keep it alive by doing this retroactive review after the play is over, although I believe that would be completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the review part is interesting. Like do we want them reviewing false starts? Not really. Like that's the issue.
Because if you're reviewing the tush push, then it becomes, let's review all false starts.
Correct.
And then
I don't want
everything?
that. And I don't want that. My thing has been pretty simple. Like in general, admittedly, for the last couple of years, I don't like the tush push. I think it is a boring play. Number one. Number two, and that alone is not a reason probably to ban something. I'll admit that. But this year in particular, when it has become so obvious that they are unable to officiate the play properly, I think that's when I've gotten everybody on board. Like, before you might have said, hey, man, they just do it better than everybody else. Stop complaining. Or saying it's boring is not good enough. Right, and that might have been your take when I said to ban it. But now that you can't officiate it properly, it needs to go away. Someone on the text line said you got to ban QB sneaks because there's no difference. Look, QB sneaks have been around forever, though, right? That's been around forever. And so, if teams are going to be doing QB sneaks, then so be it. You cannot allow them to push the quarterback and have false starts, is guess what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, that is too much of an advantage for the offense, plain and simple.
In my opinion, there is absolutely a difference between a quarterback sneak and the tush push. Look at how the tush push is conducted. You want
to act that out? Drew, get in here.
You've got a tight end on either side of the quarterback who's under center. The running back's 2 yards behind, 2 yards off the line of scrimmage. And all three of those guys basically run up and pick this man up and take him over there. The tush push and a quarterback sneak are wildly different, where you might have one guy, maybe a yard or two off the quarterback to help push him along. But that running back's still 5 or 6 yards deep in the backfield typically in a quarterback sneak scenario. You're not seeing 22 guys within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage on a normal quarterback sneak the way that you do with the tush push.
Now, a few people mentioning maybe this is the compromise. Well, look, in general, I think the whole play is going to get banned this offseason, but let's just say there's a compromise. To avoid what I was wondering, which is I don't want them reviewing every false start. Could you go in and say, this is what's just tush push plays are reviewable, but that's like so specific.
Yes.
That's why it's way easier just to get rid of the play than say, all right, no, you can still do the tush push, but that's the one time we're going to let you review the play.
Yeah, because you have
the Eagles did it, earlier this year. They did it on like 4 straight plays. Remember that near the goal line? I don't remember what game that was. Like week 3, I don't
something
know.
like that. Yeah. Then they ran.
Imagine
the fake tush
you want
push
to have
at
a
one
review
point.
3 plays in a row? No, absolutely not.
And if you don't get hyper specific on it, then you're going to leave it open to interpretation, which is just going to be even more of a headache because teams are going to start to petition for, hey, you should be able to review this play or review that play. So you're either going to have to create a hyper specific rule around one very boring and strange play in the league, or just make the easy decision and get rid of it entirely.
Isn't that something too? Like if in fairness, if they, for that one where they ran 4 in a row,
yeah.
If one of them's reviewed and it's a false start, they're not running the play again, I guess, theoretically speaking, because it'd be 5
Potentially,
yards.
you're right. Yeah,
But
potentially.
I wonder if they did do the review for isn't that something where they could just have like the fourth official or whatever page in, and within, it wouldn't take but 15 seconds, you would presume to say, hey, we need this reviewed, do
expedited review.
False start. Like it feels like that. Of all things, could be an expedited review where you don't need to look at angles or anything. It's just right down the line. Did they move early? Plain and simple, yes or no.
How about this? Someone says, see, these are all compromises. I think they're past that. I think it's just flat out going to get banned, but we can keep talking about these are compromises from people. Someone said, hey, how about the tush push is only allowed on 4th down, 2 yards or longer? I mean, fine, I guess. I don't know. I mean, fine. I mean, at that point, you're
only allowed on 4th down, I think, is something that's intriguing, I think.
Make it like onside kicks where they have to
But majority of the time, I know the Eagles do it.
Let the officials know that they're going to be doing it before they do it.
You only allowed on 4th down, but of 2 yards or longer, though. I mean, I guess at that point, maybe you're just saying the Eagles basically stop running it altogether on their own. I just think this thing is getting. The
fact that we're going through different scenarios feels like it's.
Someone says, "What's the banning? What's the banning language? Formation, the way it lines up. The fact that you cannot have the ball carrier in this case, like the quarterback, I guess, or whoever is getting the ball, right? Because technically there could be some variation, even though the Eagles just do it with Jalen Hurts. You cannot have any player push the quarterback in that scenario or the ball carrier in that scenario at the snap of the ball. I guess would be the I don't know the exact language. I'm not a rules expert, but it would be something like that.
Greater enforcement of the rules behind an illegal formation, because that's the one thing I don't feel like is being discussed enough with the tush push. It is an illegal formation. In the NFL rules, the offensive line, the guards of the offensive line have to be lined up at the hip of the center. These guys are lining up at the shoulder pads of the center on this tush push play. The center is lined up over the football. That is also illegal in terms of a formation in the National Football League. So all of those different things have got to be enforced more aggressively than they are.
It's just a play they don't officiate properly. I've made it all about the false start, but you guys remember 3 weeks ago, there was the forward progress aspect of it where Jalen Hurts clearly, they stopped his forward progress. Remember, he fumbled the football, but they said, no, forward progress stop. Well, then they give them the benefit of the doubt on the forward progress so much as well. It's just a play that they truly are unable to figure out officiating. That is it. So we'll see. It happened again last night. It was also just an ugly football game. It was a terrible game. What do you make of both these teams right now? I mean, we were already doing our contender stuff. Like the Eagles, they're going to easily win the NFC East now. They're up like 4 games, I think it is. It's crazy. The Cowboys stink. The Commanders stink. The Giants stink. That division's over. The Eagles will be one of the top 3 seeds, probably a top 2 seed in the NFC postseason. I'm still not impressed. Jalen Hurts, look, they're a Super Bowl contender. Duh. That's why they were on my list. But Jalen Hurts, this will probably be his way the whole career. He's already got a ring in his back pocket, and he has played amazing in the Super Bowl. So I don't want to take that away from him. I still watch him play in the regular season. There's plenty of times where I'm just not impressed. I'm just like, what? So that's just their setup. Whatever. Obviously, I can't stand their head coach or anything like that either. But that's beyond the point. They're a Super Bowl contender. I think they're still very, very vulnerable, though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The Packers, I still think they're contender, but their weapons on offense right now without Tucker Kraft, it's a big problem for them offensively.
No question. Going along the same lines with the Eagles, what was the strength of their offense a year ago is now arguably the weakness of their offense this year, and that is the front five. Their offensive line is not playing good football compared to where they were a year ago. Jalen Hurts has been sacked quite a few times over the course of, I believe he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in football this year, and we've seen what it's done to Saquon Barkley's productivity. It is in the tank. He is a middling running back in the National Football League this year, despite being 6th in the league in carries. He's like 15th in yards. So I don't really have a ton of confidence in the Eagles being able to win 3 playoff games if Jalen Hurts is the guy that's going to have to win you all 3, right? Yeah, a one-off here or there, like in the Super Bowl last year, fine. But if he would have had to have done that in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, I just don't necessarily believe in it. And for the Packers, they have seemed to kind of go as Josh Jacobs goes. And if you slow him down and you put the ball in Jordan Love's hands and say, hey, go do it, especially with no Romeo Doubs and with, Tucker Kraft banged up as well, even with Christian Watson back, they're still not all the way there. And while I think both of these teams have great defenses, offense can win you some big-time playoff games when it's needed, and I'm not sure either of these offenses is going to be able to win a shootout if it comes to that.
It's amazing how quickly things change in the NFL. The first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, the Packers looked like the clear Super Bowl favorite, right?
Yeah.
And now they look like a wild card, like they're going to be a wild card team. I think the Lions are going to end up winning the NFC North now. I think we kind of agree on that. So Packers, a dangerous wild card team, though. All right, we'll get into some Major League Baseball stuff on the announcement side in a second. I do want to pass some news on, I should say, from the Royals. We were just talking trade stuff. They made a minor move again just about 10 minutes ago. Just got an alert from the Royals. The Royals have announced they acquired right-handed pitcher Mason Black from the San Francisco Giants for the right-handed pitcher Logan Martin. So if you're wondering the backstory, Mason Black was designated for assignment by the Giants last week. 25 years old, stint with the Giants last year, made 1 appearance, 4 innings in relief, struck out 5. He spent the remainder of the season with AAA Sacramento, 3-10 with a 5.81 ERA. He debuted with San Francisco in 2024, former 3rd-round pick in 2021. A similar move to the outfielder yesterday, a guy that was designated for assignment, was available, obviously, to make a trade. You don't give up a whole lot. Add some pitching depth to the organization. It's fine, right?
Yeah, high draft pick,
Yep.
Former 3rd rounder who believe, the Royals obviously still believe has promise left in his career. He's only 25 years old. He hasn't had tremendous success at the major league level yet, but he's gotten there, and he did it in less than 3 years. So there's something to be said for that, and we've seen the success that the Royals have had with pitching prospects that they've been able to really develop with guys like Cole Reagans coming over from Texas and Bubich and Noah Cameron, and the list goes on. So maybe they think they can replicate it, especially if they're trying to dump off some of the pitching depth that they already have.
So the Royals last 2 days, 2 minor moves, but active already to a certain extent there as we head into GM meetings in like a week or so, whatever, later this week or a week from now. So you'll start to hear more and more rumors. I know John Morosi was reporting that the Royals are looking for outfielders. We just got done having that conversation the last half hour about what it would take to acquire an outfielder. But that is the latest move from the Kansas City Royals. Meanwhile, in Major League Baseball, they announced an agreement with the major sports books, so your FanDuels, your DraftKings, et cetera, that there's going to be a nationwide cap of $200 bets on those pitch level market wagers, or what most people call, or other people call, micro bets. You guys have probably heard that phrase as well. These are the ball strike bets, the pitch velocity bets. That is what we were discussing with the Emmanuel Clase, Luis Ortiz scandal involving the FBI and $500,000, et cetera. So this also prevents you from doing a parlay with those. So you can't parlay, Class A, ball, Class A, 95 mile per hour pitch or whatever, right? You can't parlay those anymore, and it's capped at $200. Is this good enough to stave off, a bigger overhaul push from legislators? That's kind of the question, because I think the optics, they had to show that they were willing, they were going to do something. This does feel like the sports books are kind of saying, all right, we'll kind of do this ourselves, just like, hey, take it easy kind of thing, right? Like that's kind of what it feels like. Whereas I don't think this will completely stop some states, because remember, this is just legal by state. State by state, every state has a little bit different policy on it. Not for this nationwide ban, but if you're going to say you can bet on prop bets or whatever, I think there will still be some states that introduce legislation trying to ban prop bets or ban unders or whatever. And I think it's all optics, though. I guess I don't believe any of this will completely deter anything. It makes it more challenging, and I'm all for trying to make it more challenging for people to commit crimes, right? Okay. However, if we're acting like either this cap of $200 or banning unders on the legal sports books is just going to end any possibility, I think would be kind of naive. I mean, way before legalized sports betting, we had gambling scandals in the NBA with referees. We had gambling with the Black Sox way back in the day. People will bet offshore. Like if you could go on Bovada, which is an offshore book, illegal, by the way, you could go there and still bet more than $200 on this same market. It's like if you still want to do it, you can still do it.
Absolutely.
So to me, this is more about optics. Like show to people that you care and you're trying to limit it. That's all this is. And by the way, I'm for it. I have no issue with this. I'm just saying, let's not act like this is the solution or anything like that.
Yeah, this is all about, look at what we did, right? It's about saving face. And, I'm one of those people that is of the opinion, and we heard from Vinnie earlier talking about this. He's like, we have people from the MLB come every year and tell us not to do it. We have, NBA people get the same conversations. NFL people, I know for a fact, get the same conversation every year. And sometimes people are just not going to get out of their own way, and they're going to make stupid decisions that none of us are going to be able to control. And that is an unfortunate part of, I guess you could say, society as a whole. You're never going to be able to stop it completely, I guess you could say. But I mean, it's a good show that they're at least trying. And I think maybe that's what they're doing here with this nationwide cap, is trying to stave off potential legislators from getting involved in doing things which they're doing for the sake of, their own future campaigns and things that they're trying to get.
Yeah, but like as we know, I mean, I don't care whether we're talking about sports betting or some other, organized crime or criminal enterprise or whatever. Like, people will find different ways to try to maneuver around any hurdle you place. If someone wants to, do this, right? Has some sort of scheme to defraud the sports books and obviously rig something, people will continue to find new avenues, even if you can try to close loopholes, and you should.
Yeah, and it will stop some, which is
but like
good,
there's other, I mean, there's a lot of speculation already that you have these secondary accounts of people. I don't know, I don't know if satellite's the right word. I'm trying to think of the right word. But basically, just because you're part of a group that is doing something like this, you might have multiple other accounts with other people that are trying to do these bets. Like that's the kind of stuff that needs to be probably cracked down more, is like the verification process of the vetting of these accounts that are created. And anybody that's made a sportsbook account through the apps knows that they ask for like your driver's license and things like that. But that doesn't mean that those are foolproof systems either by any means.
Yeah, we saw, I mean, as an Iowa guy, I guess you could say, quote unquote, like, I mean, there was a huge scandal in the college athletics ranks in the state of Iowa of players at the University of Iowa and at Iowa State and other schools statewide who were, making accounts using their friends' information or their mother's information, whoever it might, to try to make these sports betting accounts. So people are going to find way. I mean, I remember guys when I was going to school in college that would drive up to the Iowa border. So that way, that's where their location, their location said they were in Iowa. They would make their sports bets and then drive back to Missouri. So there's always ways, I guess, to bypass the system, but
proxy bets.
Yeah, proxy bets. Give them a little bit of credit because it is going to deter some people away from doing this, but it's not going to deter everybody, obviously.
So we'll see if any of the other leagues do this with their the NBA should probably say, all right, for under bets, I don't think they want to, but the sportsbooks probably don't want to, but $200, is there a $200 limit on under bets for certain player props? But I'll continue to say this, that will not prevent the people that want to make the larger bets from going to your Bovadas or Bet Onlines and these other illegal offshore.
They already got rid of a couple things too with the NBA. Like you can't bet on turnovers anymore. I used to be able to bet on turnovers, so they've gotten rid of some of those things already.
These individual sports, there's a lot. Like the NBA and baseball can be manipulated way more than the NFL. It just can. I'm not saying that there will never be a scandal in the NFL. I'm just saying like it is just the nature of the way the sport is set up. Like yes, can you intentionally throw an interception? I guess, but how obvious is that going to be? Like,
when you're one of 22, you can't quite have the same impact as if you're 1 of 9 or 1 of 5. Just sheer numbers.
Yeah, so we'll see. But that was just an update on the Major League Baseball side of things. All right, let's get to what's trending. And then earlier today, Vinnie Pasquantino, our NFL insider, joined us. We asked him about the NFL and this Major League Baseball betting scandal and what he has heard from the league over the years about betting, the reaction that players have to seeing something like this. That's coming up next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinnie Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Another summer has ended, and you may have noticed that your energy is lower, your workouts aren't as productive, perhaps you aren't sleeping as well and feel foggy all the time, maybe even your sex drive is off. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're experiencing some or all of these symptoms, it's likely you have low testosterone. And if that's what's going on with you, don't wait. You need to call us at Heartland Men's Health and get treated for your low T, because living with low testosterone is no way to live. With our low T treatments, if you're like most guys, your life will change considerably. Improved sleep, better energy, greater gains in the gym, better mental clarity, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. Plus, most men see these results in just a few weeks. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth more.
I'm worth a lot more. And I completely agree. That's why I'll pay more for your car at GiveMeTheVin.com. That's the name of our new campaign. I'm worth more. You are worth more, and your car's worth more. And that's why I will pay more. And remember, if I don't beat the price on a CarMax or a Carvana deal, I'll pay you $100 at GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Ready for action, hockey fans? BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is giving players another reason to lace up and hit the ice this season. BetMGM is adding extra excitement to the goals, the checks, the face-offs, and the breakaways with special promotions, new features, and more. Log in throughout the season to find odds boost tokens, no sweat tokens, and parlay boost tokens in your account to amplify your winnings. Enjoy enhanced product features like Dark Mode 2. Log into BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, all throughout the hockey season to see what's new. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
250 years ago, a promise was made to connect families and friends, near and far. And during the holidays, that promise is more important than ever. That's why USPS is building a better network to meet your needs, with timely deliveries, easy and affordable ways to ship, and everything you need to make your season full of holiday cheer. Our purpose is delivering your peace of mind, knowing your love will arrive, bringing joy to all. The United States Postal Service. Learn more at USPS.com/holidays.
Hi, I'm Nick. And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box so that family memories would be safe and could always be enjoyed together. And starting now, we're offering listeners early access to our best deal of the year during our $9 tape sale. 1 million families and counting have trusted Legacy Box to convert their aging media because Legacy Box is safe, simple, and affordable. From fading over time to risks like fire and water damage, your videotapes, film reels, and photos aren't protected unless they're on a digital format. With the holidays approaching, don't wait. Simply fill your Legacy Box. We'll take care of the rest. It's the most meaningful thing you can do this holiday season, and the perfect time during our best sale of the year. Visit legacybox.com/value to get early access to our Black Friday sale and digitize your memories for only $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/value. legacybox.com/value.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/play.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
When comfort's on the line, Anthony shows up. Same day, 24/7, even weekends and holidays. For a limited time, tankless water heaters starting at $88 per month. Schedule your complimentary proposal today at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this. What's trending?
God dang!
Brought to you by Telly Tire and Auto Centers. Winning starts with a great drive. Since 1942, Telly's certified techs have delivered complete car care with top brand tires and expert auto service. Keep your drive going. Take it to Telly. Visit tellytire.com today.
Number one on What's Trending, we just mentioned this. The Royals made a minor trade today. They've acquired right-handed pitcher Mason Black from the Giants in exchange for right-handed pitcher Logan Martin. So Black made one appearance in the big leagues last year, former third-round pick back in 2021. He was designated for assignment by the Giants last week. So kind of similar to the outfielder that they acquired yesterday, another player that was designated for assignment. Add some pitching depth, compete in spring training. That's kind of how I view this trade. Doesn't mean that Mason Black can't have an impact, but it's just a nice, smart roster move heading into spring training to give yourself some options there.
Yeah, certainly opens up the avenue again for what we've talked about several times today, which is trading away some of that pitching depth to try to get you an outfield bat, because this Royals team absolutely needs it in order to take that next step. Number 2, I've got McCole Hardman signing with the Buffalo Bills. Not to the active roster, to the practice squad. On top of that, another former Chief, Juan Thornhill, was released by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's heading to waivers. If he clears waivers, he will be a free agent. So a couple of former Chiefs on the move, one signing with a team, one becoming inevitably probably a free agent.
Elsewhere on What's Trending, the American League and National League Rookie of the Years were announced last night. On the AL side, it was Nick Kurtz from the A's. Noah Cameron finished 4th and Rookie of the Year, balloting behind Jacob Wilson and Roman Anthony. On the NL side, Drake Baldwin, catcher for the Atlanta Braves. That's how the awards market went. We'll find out MVP, is it later this week, next week? We've talked about this, how absurd and late the awards are for Major League Baseball, but they're slowly trickling out.
Slowly but surely. What's up on what's next here on What's Trending? The Mavericks have officially fired GM Nico Harrison less than a year after the now infamous Luka Doncic trade. The fan base never got back on the train afterwards, even after they drafted Cooper Flagg #1 overall. In fact, I believe it was last night against the Milwaukee Bucks. They were winning, and the fans were chanting, "Fire Nico," during a timeout. That's how bad things were getting in Dallas. It was about time. They should have traded him before he even took that phone call from Rob Pelinka.
What a mess is all I got to say.
That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, look, the trade we all know is terrible. It's horrific. Then let him go and draft. Now, Cooper Flagg was an obvious pick, but let him go and draft and then let him start the season, and now you fire him. Goes back to the Giants conversation we had yesterday. They let Brian Daboll and the GM draft. Then they fire Daboll. They're keeping the GM, so then he'll hire a new head coach, and then if things go south for another year, they'll fire that GM, and then that GM won't like that coach, and he'll fire that coach, and these are how organizations just suck.
Yep.
That's all I got to say.
What a wild 2 years for Nico Harrison. He's the GM of a team that gets to the NBA Finals, right? This guy acquired Kyrie Irving. They got to an NBA Finals. He then, less than a season later, trades away his best player, gets the number 1 overall pick, drafts Cooper Flagg, and 6 months after that, he's fired. That's a whirlwind 24 months for Nico Harrison.
Lastly, on what's trending, Drew's favorite quarterback other than Joe Burrow, the Browns are not opening Deshaun Watson's 21-day practice window this week, but he continues to make excellent progress in his rehab from the re-ruptured Achilles.
If he's my favorite quarterback, I want the Bengals to face in every game. Then I guess so. But
that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. As you can hear, Logan Weber.
I like Josh Allen more than I like Deshaun Watson. You know, I'm a prescribed Josh Allen hater.
You are a Josh Allen hater. Logan Weber's filling in for Cody today, also on Friday and a few days next week. Bank will be in on Wednesday and Thursday. All the best to Cody. He is, as he talked about yesterday, having a procedure done later on today, and he's expected back next Wednesday. Earlier today, our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino, joined us. We, of course, talked NFL, but towards the end of this conversation, you'll hear us discuss the betting scandal in baseball, his thoughts on that, and just the athlete's point of view and how often that gets discussed by them. But we did start our conversation talking about the Jazz suit. Yeah, got to win. Some people saying tank for the draft, but as you guys know, Vinny's all about just winning.
Yeah, mostly because I invest 3 hours of every Sunday watching them, so I don't want them to lose. That would be miserable for me to try to watch a team lose. I understand why people say it, but I'm not a fan of it. I like watching teams win. So anytime you can get a victory, I'm pretty happy about it. And now everybody needs to watch them on Thursday night against the New England Patriots. So when you add up both of their winning streaks, they haven't lost in 9 games. So.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs fans would love for your Jets to pull off an upset on the Patriots a little bit there.
Yeah. So tune in on Thursday night. Maybe it'll happen. It probably won't, but maybe it will.
All right. Vinny, earlier in the show, we were trying to list like Super Bowl contenders, right? And not necessarily just teams who you believe are capable of like getting to an AFC or an NFC championship game, but teams that you believe are legitimate contenders for hoisting a Lombardi trophy at some point at the end of the year. We each had, very similar lists, 4 or 5. Drew had 8 teams on his list. Can you give us like 4 or 5 teams that you believe are seriously capable of winning a Super Bowl?
I think you start in the NFC and you go with the Seahawks and the Rams and the Eagles. Those would be the 3 for me. And if I'm forgetting anybody in that league, I don't really care. Those would be my 3 from there. And then I'd say out of the AFC, whoever gets the 1 seed, I would consider to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender just because one less game. And then the Chiefs and the Bills are who I would say because they've done it. Not that the Bills have won the Super Bowl before, but they have gotten to the AFC Championship.
Right.
Those would be my teams. The Colts scare me. However, if the Colts do get the 1 seed, like I said, one less game, I guess the Patriots are pretty good, but I haven't seen them up close and personal yet, so I'll get back to you after Thursday night when I watch my film on them. But apparently Drake May's been going off, huh? He's been really good.
Yeah, he's a co-favorite to be the MVP in his second year as a starting quarterback. And the Colts thing is, Jonathan Taylor has been unbelievable. There's a lot of people that think he should win MVP, even though we know that's a quarterback award for the last decade or so in the NFL. My issue is what we saw the last 2 weeks for Daniel Jones. Like 7 turnovers combined, 6 of them in 1 week. And I'm still always worried. I guess not worried, but I believe the Colts will have a Daniel Jones game. And to your point, that's why I think the number 1 seed is far more important for the Colts to get it than even the Patriots.
Well, I have a ridiculous thing to say. And like I've said for years on this show, with how ignorant I am with football, you cannot take what I say too seriously. But everything I hear and see from coaches and players says you have to be able to run the ball and stop the run in the playoffs because it's cold weather, harder to throw. That doesn't really matter for Indianapolis because they play inside. So I don't know how much of an advantage it is for them to be able to run the ball as well as they do, because it won't be cold if they have home games. So teams will be able to go in there and throw the ball. I don't know if that made any sense or not. If there's any football people listening to this, I'm sorry for disgracing the game that we all love. But that's how I feel.
No, I get what you're saying. My thing has been that I think they need the bye. One, it's obviously, as you said, one less game, but the weather thing, meaning like while they can run the ball, I don't know if the Colts operation, though, we haven't really seen it have to travel in cold weather yet. Like, I know people will assume that, well, Jonathan Taylor can run in the cold and Daniel Jones can play in the cold. He played in New York. My thing with them is I want to know what do they look like? Is their offense as good when they have to go play in a cold weather city? Whereas if they're the number one seed, it's less games, and what you just said, they don't have to play on the road. So I viewed it as more of an advantage. I get what you're saying, which is if you're a Chiefs offense or any other, let's say there's not really a warm weather city other than the Chargers maybe that are going to make the playoffs, it feels like, in the AFC. But if one of those teams had to go to Indy, it's not as problematic as what you're saying.
Yeah, and also I'm about to get kicked out of Kansas City for saying what I'm about to say.
Oh boy, be careful.
From a casual football fan perspective, not as a Kansas City fan, even though certain former NFL players think that baseball is the only sports that has dynasties, from a casual fan perspective, it would be cool to see another team get to play for a championship. Again, I'd rather the Chiefs win if the Jets can't. But from a national perspective, it could be cool if the Colts randomly get to the Super Bowl. How mad did I just make you right there? Did you hang up on me?
I personally didn't think it was cool.
We should. The text line's not going to like that, Vinny. We're talking to our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. Well, then how about, can we agree then the Eagles can stop winning? Because I don't need to see them start a dynasty.
If you think I want the Eagles to win, you're nuts.
Last night, by the way, did you watch that at all? That mess of a football game, the Tush Push Bowl?
I have YouTube TV, so I couldn't watch. So shout out to YouTube TV and Disney and ESPN for not being able to allow some consumers to watch. And I will not be getting the ESPN app.
Why don't you get the so it is ridiculous. I'm with you. And the fact that you have to apply for a $20 credit instead of them just automatically giving you a $20 credit is absolutely insane. But why don't you just go with the indoor antenna? Like they're like $25 and you plug it right in the old coaxial input or whatever it's called.
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't even know what that means.
Vinny, you just go go on Amazon, HD indoor antenna, and you plug it in the back of your TV and you can get any of the local channels with no delay for free.
Really?
Yeah. That's how
like
I watch.
Old school cable.
Exactly. And so I like it mainly because there's no delay for Sunday Night Football anyway. Well, long before this ESPN YouTube dispute, I watch Sunday Night Football that way. That way there's no delay.
Huh. Now, that sounds like a fun idea. I prefer the no delay. I was a DirecTV customer for a long time simply because I didn't want the delay. Yeah, okay. I'll look into it.
You should. I think you'll enjoy that part of it. All right. You mentioned dynasties and all that. As a Jets fan, what do you make of the Patriots, though? Because they go from Brady to Mac Jones for a few years, but it looks like they got their franchise quarterback already. Meanwhile, we know what's going on in New York.
I hate it. I'm very hopeful that this new regime of general manager and head coach are able to find some stability within the organization. And, yeah, it's not the most fun that I got to watch Brady my entire childhood, and now I'm watching Drake May. And what's even worse is I kind of know him, so that sucks because I like him.
You know Drake May? Can you explain that? How do you know? What's the connection?
Indirectly. I played with his brother in a collegiate summer ball, so I've met him. I don't know him.
Okay.
Sorry, I was too dramatic there, but I've met him. But he was nice. So, and I have a soft spot for nice people.
There you go.
Interesting. Well, Vinny, we're giving you a hard time over the Drake May thing being a Jets fan. It seems like the Jets are more likely than not going to have a pretty high draft pick coming up in 2026. And I don't know how much you watch, college football or anything like that. It's a little too early to ask this question maybe in the month of November, but is there a quarterback you've seen at the college level that you would like to see maybe be the new potential franchise QB for your Jets?
Well, according to my Madden franchise, we're going to draft Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. How much more could you want? That's all I need to see.
He is going to be one of the top quarterbacks taken. There's no doubt. Yeah. Him or Ty Simpson, I think, the kid out of Alabama. Now, the Chiefs, as you know, and we in the past, you have spoken about your hate for the Broncos, and it is Broncos week in Kansas City. This is a must-win game. If the Chiefs have any chance to win the division, they have to win on Sunday, Vinny.
That's adorable that you consider this game a must-win. Must be nice to be considering division games just in terms to win the division, must-win games. They're going to win the game.
Okay. They're going to win.
That's it. They're going to win the game. It's as simple as that. So they're going to win. The Broncos will be 8-3. The Chiefs will be what? 6-4?
Yep.
And then they make their move towards the division. That's me calling my shot right there because
I like it.
As we all know, I'm a Chiefs lover.
Right.
I feel like I've made that clear throughout the years. But more importantly, I'm a Broncos hater. We hate them.
We do, as we're talking to our NFL insider, Vinnie Pasquantino. 2 final questions. One is non-football related. One is baseball. Let me get to your bottom 5, though, in the NFL. We do this every couple weeks as well. You gave us your Super Bowl contenders. Give me your bottom 5. The Jets get a win. Where are they at now?
The Browns are number 1 on that list because they lost to the Jets. That was like like I say, I'm very ignorant when it comes to football, but I would think at some point you're probably going to give Shador a shot there.
Okay.
The Jets have they traded away their 2 best defensive players. Now, I will say they won the game mostly because they returned a punt and a kick back-to-back. But still, they're in there. The Saints are still in there. The Jets are still in there. The Broncos are, of course, in there. And, who else is horrible? I'm going to put the Giants in there since they just fired their coach.
Yeah, they're a mess.
The Titans, of course.
Yeah, it's Cam Ward. It's been rough, to say the least, in year 1 for one Cam Ward. All right, that's the bottom 5 from Vinny. Last one for you. Just this is more out of curiosity. I think people wondering here in Kansas City when they hear all this stuff that's out there with baseball and these gambling scandals and all that, how often do players have that, I guess, discussed, from the league or from the PA when you see now this Class A stuff and gambling scandals? It's happened in the NBA as well. And is this something that there's a point of emphasis every year? Do you know, is it happening more that you guys are being told, hey, remember certain things? I mean, this one seems pretty obvious, but the whole betting aspect of that.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it every year. MLB security comes in and they make it very clear what you can and can't do. And it's pretty simple. You cannot bet on baseball or softball, regardless of if you're playing, not playing, whatever it is. Baseball and softball, you cannot touch. You can bet on anything else. So it's unfortunate, that's for sure. It hurts more for Cleveland fans because they lost, one of their back end guys, really good pitcher, obviously, and then another guy who was pretty solid too. So I've got no sympathy for it. It's pretty simple. You can't bet on that stuff. I don't know. It's just it's hard to comprehend why they did it. Maybe something was going on. Who knows? But yeah, it's unfortunate for them, for the game, for everybody. Just don't do it. Pretty simple.
I would assume as a player, there's no way you face Class A. I'm sure numerous times in your career now at this point. I mean, it's one of those things where you as a player, as an opposing batter, you probably would have no clue that something like that was happening.
No, not even. No, you'd have no idea. Yeah, there's just no way to even. I don't know. I always assume the best, so I would assume that nobody's ever doing that. But it just it sucks. It taints the game for a little bit, and that's unfortunate. But hopefully we can. Hopefully everybody can get through this thing and get back to playing regular baseball. Not that it wasn't, but it just sucks.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I think we've talked about just as sports fan, whether we're talking about NBA or NFL, it's like now anytime anything happens, you're going to have some people, not all fans, you're going to have some people wondering, and that's the unfortunate thing because 99% of what is happening in these leagues that we love and sports we love is all on the up and up. But you have, of course, some bad actors. Here's another example of it. And it unfortunately opens, Pandora's box for some sports fans. I think that is unfortunate, and I can't imagine on the players' end.
That's the issue with betting on a single pitch or a single play is a pitcher can lose a ball at any given time, throwing off the backstop, whatever it is, or a guy could make an error, or a guy can swing and miss, or a guy could take a pitch down the middle. It doesn't mean that they're like, honestly, that's one of the most common messages we get from fans nowadays is that we were betting on the game. Like whenever anything goes wrong, it's like, oh, you sold to Vegas, blah, 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 something like that. It's like, nope, I just grounded into a double play. I didn't want to do that.
Do you think
I struck out a few times tonight? It had nothing to do with anything other than it was a tough night.
I hope you all may be asking this. Like, do you think sports? Like, do you think fans should be able to bet though on sports? Because what you're saying that it sounds like you get. I don't know if you get messages. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but people interact with you and are acting. Maybe they're upset. I don't know if you ever had that happen because of they lost a bet or something.
Yeah, I mean. Look, it's clearly something that makes a lot of money. So it's probably, until something terrible happens, it's probably not going to go away. So I think people can do whatever they want. I think just people need to realize you need to bet responsibly, and you shouldn't be betting enough that you get so angry that you take it out on the players that are out there playing. Like, I think the most pure form of sport is if you're at home or at a sports bar or something and nobody is betting and you're just simply rooting on the teams to win or lose. That's probably the most enjoyable way for me, at least, to watch sports, not sweating out like a over under in a football game and not even paying attention to the game, just paying attention to the bets that I have.
So that was Vinnie Pasquantino, our VFL insider. I thought really interesting stuff from him at the end of the conversation, knowing what has been going on in sports here recently and certainly Major League Baseball in the last 48 hours or so with the Emmanuel Clase stuff. And what he was mentioning at the end there is what we've hit on, which is the prop bet individual pitch type stuff is where there's going to be more of a crackdown, I think, because it is just way too easy to manipulate. But also, there are fans, and this happens at all levels, and it's why I think the state of Ohio introduced some legislation to make, I can't remember what level of crime, but if you send a message to an athlete threatening them because you lost your damn bet, one, you got some issues, but two, legal consequences. I think Ohio is one that, I don't know if it passed it, but someone can double check. I believe the state of Ohio at least was in the process of passing something specifically for college athletes. But I would argue if you threaten any athlete, professional or college, and you're angry because you lost a bet, that should be, it should be treated as harassment and among other things.
I was going to say, I think I remember that was directed mainly towards the college side of things. I don't know if it includes.
It should include
NFL
pros. Why not?
Or baseball or basketball or hockey or whatever that they got in Ohio.
It seems even sicker when it's an 18-year-old kid. I get that.
Oh, yeah.
But also, 28-year-old making $30 million doesn't mean you should tell him to go, you know what, or whatever.
Because he was 1 point short of.
Yeah.
Whatever, or a yard short of his over-under.
But I thought good perspective from Vinnie, though, just on a player's side. And it's something that, they are all told, even though it seems so obvious. Like, if you're Emmanuel Clase, it's like, come on, dude. You didn't even need anybody to tell you couldn't do that. But just in general, no baseball or softball. I thought that was interesting. So a baseball player cannot bet on a softball game either. They must just think that there's too much of a
the sports have similarities.
correlation.
There's